Good evening and welcome to Poker Night Live, the poker show which is live. I was about to say something else then. The poker show which is live poker online. We're here 7 nights a week and we bring you all the poker action. It's Texas Hold'em as usual. I'm Michelle, your host for the evening. I'm joined tonight by a poker expert, so he likes to be known. That's Tikay. Hello Tikay, how are you?
Don't try getting round me. Good evening, everybody. Michelle and I have had a bit of a fallout tonight.
Yes, we have, haven't we?
So
Stop talking to me.
There's going to be some flack going backwards and forwards, but we'll leave it a little later on.
You can't be nasty to me, because that's Casper's job.
I have to confirm that we are not actually talking to each other at the moment.
So we're going to communicate through you guys, if that's okay. What Tikay's job tonight is going to be commentating on all of the games that we watch. We're going to be watching multi-table tournaments, we're going to be watching cash games and sit-and-go tournaments as well. Tikay will be telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing in the game of No Limit Texas Hold'em Poker. It's live, people, and it's all happening live on the net. There is a delay, so our players can't cheat and see their opponent's cards, but it's very exciting. If at any point you don't understand what's going on, or if Tikay said something you don't agree with, which might happen,
Talking to them.
which might happen, then you have to get in contact with us. We do like to hear from you, whatever it may be. Do remember it's amateur night, but if you are a bit of a pro, we do like to hear from you as well. This is the text. It's 84222. You text the word poker and then your question, and it's 4 for £1. Or you can email poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And don't forget to check out the web. Don't do this while Tikay and I are in the middle of a complicated poker discussion, but in the break, check out the web, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. Now, as I said, we're going to be watching multi-table tournaments, sit-and-goes and cash games. It's all going to be Texas Hold'em No Limit, just different structures of the same game. So, Tikay, if you wouldn't mind taking us around the tables.
Talk to them, don't talk to me.
You're going to get a slap tonight, you know that, don't you?
Yes, tonight we have 4 different venues for you. We have a £10 single table tournament, and the first one is already down to 6 runners, as you can see. There's a rather interesting hand going off, actually. 6-5 versus 6-5.
I think it looks like one might push the other one off.
Well, as they say,
oh no,
we shall see what happens with this, and then we'll move on. A 3 would be very interesting here. Who's brave? Wife's a Bitch, or is it Life? No, Wife's a Bitch. What a wonderful name. And Wife's a Bitch and Latinator split that one.
Terrible.
So we'll be going back to that or its successor very shortly. Our second point to call this evening will be a big money job, a $20 SNG, sit and go. This one has 6 runners left. It's currently at 20.40. We've managed to lose 2 already somehow. And our old fella Fishing for Chips and Bullets are sat there, as has the PNL regular Johan Harem, Cat Attack, Wayne Wallace and the Saint 666.
You nearly did that as well as I did.
So, I nearly did what? Are you talking to me? I nearly did what?
The talking around the table of who's playing.
No, I didn't, because I know that you get complained about it.
Don't.
So then we go on to our next point of call, after we've seen this hand, will be the 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. And the usual crowd are there, Morrison, Latinator, etc., etc. We'll be popping backwards and forwards to that throughout the evening. No doubt Johan Harem will arrive there and skint the table, as he normally does. And there's not too much money on the table right now, but as it builds up through the evening, the most they can put down, I believe, is $50. You'll see people like Morrison and Johan probably end up with 100, 150. And this one's in the middle of a rather interesting hand. I'm not
a minger.
I can't say that.
That's fair enough.
Whatever it says is that was on an up and down, but he's let go to the Nico style. And then we're going to go to our MTT, for which tonight it's a $10 multi-table tournament, of which there were 74 runners. And I believe it's a single rebuy, so will be quite a lot in the pool here, probably about $1,500 time they finished. It's in the very early stages, first level blinds at 10.20, and we'll be going backwards and forwards throughout the evening, and we will see the thrilling climax in the last hour of the show.
We will. Very exciting show tonight. Then we'll have that multi-table tournament final at the end. I'm going to be playing in Beat the Presenter. Let's see if he can beat me at 11 o'clock. It's easier said than done, TK, beating me. Now, I watched you the other day. You're going to have to talk to me now, just for a moment. I watched you the other day play in a TV tournament, and you come second.
Let me tell you what actually happened when she walked in the studio tonight. The words as she came in, this is true, the words as she came in the studio were, I saw you on telly the other night.
Which I did.
In that thing at Gutshot, and I said, yes. She said, you won a lot of money, and I said, I won £200,000, which is actually a slight lie. I won 17,000, but let's, you know, I said I'd won 200,000. And she instantly said, give me 10,000.
Well,
is that true?
Well, to be fair, you said it was 200,000, so that's only, you know, a small percentage of what you won. I think 10,000's nothing. You wouldn't even miss it.
And then we had a minor fallout about something, and I said, don't talk to me. And she just carried on talking to me like a sort of...
I've just been talking
like
at him
yeah,
the last
just ignored me
half an hour.
completely. So we're going to be at war tonight. But who better to be at war?
You're going to be Casper, aren't you? It's not good.
No, I can't be that bad. I can't be that bad.
Right, well...
And we do need some emails.
We do need some emails. And do you know
but...
what, TK, actually, before I forget, each time I'm on, I'm looking at an odd.
What?
A particular odd. It's to do with odds. And I don't know all my odds, and I'm sure a lot of you at home don't.
Odds are always plural. You can't look at an odd.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like saying, like, I want to look at an odds. I suppose that's fine. Anyway, I'm going to do an odds show then, because Casper was having a go at me about the plural as well. And so the first show, we had a look at the flush draw odds, the odds of getting your flush draw once you've hit the draw on the flop. And then the second show I did with Casper...
No, not 4 to 1 on the flop.
Yeah?
No, that's on the turn.
No, on the flop. It was with once you've hit your draw on the flop, what are the odds of getting your flush with 1 card to come, and what's the odds of getting your flush with 2 cards to come?
On the flop, there are 2 cards to come.
Yeah, but what are the odds of getting your flop with your flush with 1 to come and with 2 to come? Because sometimes you might have to pay more on the turn. So the idea is you've got, say, 2 hearts in your hand. You hit 2 hearts on the flop, so you've got a flush draw. So what we looked at in the first show was what are the odds of getting your draw by the next card, and what is your odds of getting the draw by the river. So it was 4 to 1 with 1 card to come, and 2 to 1 with 2 cards to come. That's what Casper said. Is that sounding right to you?
So on the flop, it's 2 to 1.
Yeah, so on the flop it's 2 to 1 to get it by the river, but some people will need to know their odds by the next card, won't they, if they're having to put a certain amount in, how I believe it to be true.
Well, that's true, but if you have hit 4 to the flush on the flop, it's not really relevant to know what it is on the turn. You have to make a decision at this stage. You can't make your decision 1 card ahead. So
yeah, but you won't know how much more money you're going to have to put in on the turn. So you do need to know the odds with 1 more card to come, don't you? And yes, it might be the same on the turn.
But not on the flop. You need to know the odds with 2 cards to come on the flop.
Okay, well, let's just talk about this just for a minute, because this is different.
Don't stick your chest out at me.
Because you do need to know, if you're on the flop and someone put in, there's $40 in the pot,
yes.
and someone bets $10 at you, so it's going to cost you $10 to win at this point, $10 to win 50 at this point. So you need to know if you're getting odds to call that, because you don't know how much he's going to bet at you on the turn. So how can you possibly think about odds to the river when he might bet at you again on the turn?
The only odds, ever to be serious, the only odds you need to know at this moment are the odds for the end. At the flop, you need to know what it is the odds are for you to hit your flush by the end.
Really?
Yeah.
So if there's $30 in the pot, and they're betting $30 at you, so it's going to cost you 30 to win 60, so you're getting 2 to 1.
Yep.
You can call that then, because you're getting 2 to 1 odds by the river.
Yeah, it's not quite that simple, because the player might be at it. It might be something that you don't really put on a draw. Or you may have other outs. You may have top pair and a flush draw. You might be in a tournament where you have a lot of chips and you can gamble, or you might be on your last chips. You might be in a cash game. There are so many variables, but basically what you're saying is right, yeah.
Okay, so we did the flush draw, we did the open-ended straight draw, which is very similar, with 1 card to come and 2 cards to come as the flush, but a little bit
in odds
higher.
Turn, it's slightly greater odds.
Slightly greater.
In that if you're up and down, assuming your outs are clean, then you have 8 outs.
Yeah.
And in a flush, assuming your outs are clean, you have 9 outs.
Right, so it's
there's
very
more
similar.
outs, so the odds are slightly less. But don't forget the
Okay.
rule of 4 on when you're working odds out. If you have 8 cards to come on the flop, you're up and down, so you've got 8 outs, assuming they're clean. At that stage, you multiply by 4. 4 times 8 is what, Michelle?
4 times 8?
Yeah.
8, 16, 24, 32.
Okay, so you're 32%, 32% to hit your straight.
Yeah.
So effectively, you're a 2 to 1 shot. Yeah?
Right,
32
okay.
into 100. And if you're drawing to the flush, if you're 4 to the flush, it's 4 times 9, which is
4 times 9, 36.
very good. So again, it's as near as makes a difference, it's another 2 to 1 shot.
I got
That's
C in
what you
maths.
need to know.
Right, okay, so what should we do tonight? What odds should we do tonight? Should we look at? 'Cause I'm doing one a show in particular, and then we see if people are using them correctly.
Well, if you like, when we actually see this arise in a tournament,
Okay, that can be the
we'll
one for
pick
the
it up
evening.
and stop it and talk it through.
Excellent.
And if anybody has any questions about this, please email us. We don't have a tremendous amount of emails at the moment, but
No, yes, we want to hear from you. We had loads the other night and it was wonderful. So please do get them in. 84222 and poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Right, well, we're going to start off the evening with the multi-table tournament. So let's go straight over there and have a look at what's going on. Don't worry if you're completely confused by odds chat just then with TK and I. It's something you will need to know when playing poker, but it's not something you need to know right away if you are a complete beginner. Learn the game first. Which you will do tonight if you stay with us.
So we pick up this MTT in the early stages. We're on the first level, I believe. Blinds are 10, 20. And we've picked up one of the tables. There are approximately 8 tables, I believe, or there were when we began. And with the blinds at 10, 20, we're obviously in the early stages. And at this point, we pick it up with both players, 7-8 on tilt and Duke 2006 with top pair. Really, I'm fascinated by how people get their names, their alias, their alii. 78 on tilt.
What's your alias?
My alias is a very subtle one. It's called Tikay. Every site I play on, I'm Tikay. What is yours?
Night Nurse.
I thought you might be actually in this game in seat 3.
Oh,
Oh, of course you're nightmares, aren't you? 78 until, probably he was born in 78, which logic won't apply to Duke 2006. I've just had a cup of tea poured over my head. And we see our friend Crespo, a P&L regular. He's flopped a set of aces, and Thickhead, true to his name, is trying to get him off it. Not an easy trick, I can assure you. Crespo will run well in this, I'm sure, if he doesn't get too leery. And we'll come backwards and forwards to this through the evening. It races on quite fast at this stage. The blinds have just gone again to their next level, which is 15-30. So if you want to make a pot-size raise and you're first to speak, what would you be betting here, Michelle?
if I wanted to make a pot-size raise and I was
First to
first
speak.
to speak, well, the pot's 135, so that's what I'd put in.
Oh, well, before anybody's taken any action, let's say you're first to speak, the blinds are in, which is 15-30.
Right, so this is pre-flop.
Pre-flop, yes. What one would normally do, the standard is...
3 to 4 times the big blind.
Yeah, it's you can either go 7 times the small blind, which is effectively 3.5 the big. Yeah. If you do you do your 7 times table?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Or 3 times the big. And then you know what the better players do, particularly later in a competition, is they mess around with those. They don't keep them constant. Some people believe that they should always put exactly the same opening raise in, so that they don't give any tell. Other people do the opposite, which is they say, okay, each time I raise a slightly different amount. This time I raise 2.5 big blinds, this time I raise 3 big blinds, this time I raise 6.5 small blinds.
So nobody ever knows where they are with them.
Well, that's the theory. You're supposed to do the opposite to what people expect. So people like Wernick and Thu and Shipley, these guys never give you a clue to their hand by their raise. But as a simple rule, if you always make the raise the same amount relative to the blinds, if you always make it the same, people can't get a tell off you. So
Right, so basically we've got 74 entrants in this competition.
we did have, yeah.
It's a due to the death, so you pay your $10, you get given 1,500 chips, and when you lose your chips, you're out.
Well, I'm a little confused because I believe it's a single rebuy.
Oh, right, okay. Well, let's talk about that then. What does that mean?
What that means is that if you went to a live venue, and generally speaking, in internet competitions, it's slightly different. In a live venue, if you start with 2,000 chips and it's a single rebuy, you're allowed to rebuy when your stack has diminished to half the starting stack. So what's half of 2,000?
1,000.
Very good,
TK.
very good. You're coming on
It's
nicely.
a maths lesson tonight.
Yes. So when you get down to 1,000 chips, you can take your add-on or your rebuy, which is your 2,000, so you're up to 3. What normally happens online is that they will allow you to take your rebuy or add-on. The add-on will be at the end of the freeze-out period, or the rebuy, they will allow you to take it when you have gone beneath your starting stack. So if you started with 2,000 and you post one blind of 50, so you got 1,950, normally they would allow you to take that rebuy straight away.
Right, okay, so you can buy in for another 2,000 chips.
Yeah,
at
so,
the same
and
price.
that gives you a little bit more elbow room. If you can afford to do it, then you should, I believe.
Okay,
The sooner the better.
sooner the better. Right, so you get one more rebuy. And sometimes you get an add-on, so at the end of that rebuy period, you're allowed to rebuy for one more
Yeah,
set
an
of
add-on
chips.
is at the end of the freeze, or the rebuy period, you are allowed the option of taking an add-on, irrespective of how many chips you have.
And do you think it's something you should do?
It depends on the stack you've got, but normally speaking, yes.
Okay.
But this can get quite complicated, because the further you go into a competition, the less the value of your chips is. So you have to be a little bit careful here, because they are, in effect, slightly more expensive. But normally speaking, if I can afford it, I would take an add-on, yes.
Okay. So then that period stops, and then you've got your chips
Now
in front of you, and once they're gone, you're out.
Now we're in a freeze-out.
In the freeze-out.
Just as if you were in a S&G, a sit and go. And I received an email last week, which it just goes to show how we take things for granted, that we think everybody understands. But somebody asked why it's called an SNG.
Sit and go.
Sit and go. And it's quite simply that most MTTs, multi-table tournaments, have a scheduled starting time. An MTT will start at 10 o'clock, 10:30, 10:45, an advertised time. Whereas an SNG, a sit and go, starts as soon as everybody's sat down. So they start non-stop all day long. As soon as the table's filled, off it goes.
And on the internet, it doesn't take very long, does it?
Now, if you go onto a busy site, some of them fill up, within 30 seconds, 45 seconds. But the moment it fills, it will go. There's no timetable to it. So that's why they call it a sit and go. And in case you think that's a star thing to say, not everybody is aware of that, because I had an email asking about it. Was it from you?
Could well have been me, yes, a year ago.
Could have been. Just
Right, well, what we're going to do is this multi-table tournament's will be going on all night, because we've got 74 runners in it. So the tables will be condensed as people are knocked out, and we'll end up with 8 people on the last table, and we will watch that at the end of the night. We will touch on it throughout the night, though. And for now, we're going to head over to a sit and go we've got happening on another table. This is a $10 sit and go, so it's exactly the same game, but this is just this one table. So this is a sit and go that TK was just talking about.
Yeah, this is, put another way, I mean, people use different expressions, but put another way, this is a one-table freeze-out. There are no rebuys here, there are no add-ons. When you do your chips, you get up and go. And so it could be called a get up and go, but this is $10, and as normal, there's a $1 registration on top of the buy-in. The $1 registration goes to the site to pay for the site and to make a little bit of profit, one hopes. The $10 times 8 is all returned to the players in prize pool. And so we've got the 8 players here. They're in the first level at 10-20. See, quite an interesting hand here. We've got an ace jack 7 flop. Am So Lucky has been so lucky and flopped the top 2.
So he's got top 2 pair, and 2 aces, 2 jacks, and a 7. It's always
Correct.
the 5-card hand.
And Wife's a Bitch, he's got none of this whatsoever.
He's got bottom pair, which isn't very good, is it? Yeah,
Well,
he
that's
seems to
true.
want to put some money in for it.
Well, he's making a move at it, but he's not going to get Am So Lucky off, that is a certainty. And Cat's Eyes has got a gut shot straight draw. If Cat's Eyes was to catch a 10, he'd be a happy bunny, or a happy cat.
Yes, if he had a 10, he'd have the straight, and it's just over, well, with one card to come, it's just over 10 to 1, isn't it, to get your gut shot, the odds?
Something like that.
Ooh, are you impressed?
You've got a little sheet, you've got a crib sheet.
I haven't got a
You've been
sheet.
listening
I
to
haven't
James, haven't
looked.
you?
Don't lie, because they'll think I have got a
You've
sheet.
been listening to James.
Yes,
Am So-
James is making me learn.
Yeah, I don't envy his task. So Am So Lucky has got his top pair through. He couldn't keep checking there. It's all very well checking what is a very, very big hand and slow playing it, but you have to be careful. There was a straight draw out. You can get caught, so there was enough in the pot to take it down. And he took it down. Bear in mind they only start with 1,000 chips here, so it's very, very important to try and win these little pots. I like at the early stages of an MTT or an SNG to try and win a few small pots. If you've got 1,100, 1,150, 1,200 chips on 1,000 started stack, everybody else has got 800 or 900, or most of the others, it really does make a difference. So, King 7-6 all diamonds. The Saint has got the nut diamond. He won't go away very easily.
This is very interesting because Mel and Nat and Wife's a Bitch both have the top pair.
Yep.
They will be a bit wary of that flop though, won't they?
Am So Lucky he's got out the way with his 10. They will, because they don't know who's got diamonds. And I'd be very, very surprised if the Saint lets go of this. He's got bottom pair as well. So he's pulling to his diamond, he's pulling to 2 pairs.
Is he getting odds here to call for his flush?
Well, in fact, he's got odds now, that's for sure.
One more card to go. Oh, and it doesn't come. So as
Well,
long
he's missed
as...
it. He may well let... No, he's gambled. I don't think Wife's a Bitch can let go.
He's called it. Yeah, it didn't work for the Saints.
There's a good lesson there, is that Wife's a Bitch had 190 chips left. The pot was 1,450, 1,490. Number one, the guy's getting 10 to 1 to make the call. So he has to make the call. Number two, when you've got all that amount of your stacking, he's only got 190 out of his 1,000 left. He's going to say to himself, well, I'm either in or I'm out. So don't try pushing people off hands when they can't pass.
The Saint tried to bluff that a little bit. He tried to steal it at the end,
Yeah,
and Wife's Bitch was never going to let it go.
When you're bluffing, you've got to make sure, you have to look at whether the situation is such that a bluff is bluffable. And if the guy's only got 190 to call into a 1,500 pot...
He's going to do it.
And that's the rest of his stack, and he's got nothing left. He's going to call, isn't he? So
this is really interesting, and sometimes things, as a learner, you don't think about.
yeah, there is a time to bluff and a time not to bluff. And in that situation, with due respect, it was the worst bluff in the world because the guy can't possibly pass. He just can't pass. Now,
So
if he's got a deep stack and the odds were
Saints.
different, yeah, but in that particular case, he was never, ever going to get it through.
And I think Wife's Bitch as well probably would have checked it down as well because of those 3 diamonds if the Saint had checked.
That's right. It's one of those situations is that he's going to get called come what may. Generally speaking, you're only going to get called if you're losing, but sometimes you just got to check on the end and say, okay, well, I didn't hit. I'm not going to win this one. That's all I'm going to lose. Sticking that extra bet in on the end can often cause damage.
Well, now Wife's Bitch has the aces, the best hand you can have pre-flop. How does he play it? Does he raise with it, or does he do a cheeky check?
He has to get on, as they say, as I heard Malcolm Harwood mention the other night. He says, I've got to get on with my aces. And he's got to find a customer. And he's made a nice raise there. He's made it 40. So he's only made a half raise, 2 big blinds, 4 smalls, because he's trying to tease somebody in. He's teased cat's eyes in with his 4s.
Wonderful flop for the aces.
It is. So the only thing that goes wrong with teasing someone in is that, you know, if cat's eyes are called a 4, then he's going to take the pot. But it's something, I don't know, we talked about it with you or Lindsay, but we had this risk-reward dial, this thing that goes left and right.
Yeah, we did talk a bit about that.
Yeah, and you know, when he makes a little raise, he's increasing his risk, but he's increasing his reward as well.
So, thinking about that, if cat's eyes were sitting there with, say, 110 chips instead of 810 chips, is it worth... Because there's no implied odds, so there's nothing there at all. So is it worth Wife's Bitch just trying to take it there on P-flops and not to give him the chance to catch anything?
If cat's eyes only had 110, then there's not much upside for Wife's Bitch, is there? Because that's all he can win. But what you have to be careful of is focusing on one player. Because if you limp to catch the fellow with 110 chips, you think, right, I'm going to get him because he might have a hand, and he's obviously not going to pass. The trouble is you don't know what's behind cat's eyes, do you? There might be other players with hands. So don't just look at one player, look at the entire table. Otherwise you can get into a bit of trouble. As
Icewinger hits the ace-king, another good hand to have pre-flop.
Well, he's got ace-high, that's what it amounts to, but it's certainly a strong hand. He's played it very strong for this. Oh my goodness. 4-4-4. Well, and that's all in, so we're seeing all 5 cards, and it goes to the ace high.
Because his hand is 3 4s, an ace and a king, whereas Mel and Nat's hand is 3 4s with a jack and a 10.
I'm extremely impressed.
Are you impressed that I can count?
You've been coaching him. Have you been under Casper or James or
All of them, as it goes, TK, for the last year.
all of them except me? That's my luck. Okay.
So you have got 7 cards available to you. Do remember that the 5 cards on the board are available to everybody else as well.
If you think some of you think we're being a little bit basic here, can you please remember it is amateurs night. Some people don't understand some of these things, and it's very important we get amateurs and inexperienced players to understand the game, enjoy it better, get better at it, and get into the poker community. So.
Exactly, and a lot of guys out there that watch Amateur Night have been playing similar to me. They've been playing a year, 6 months to 18 months. And all the things we talk about are things you need to be thinking about in the first year to 18 months of playing. And as Casper rightly says, you never stop learning, do you?
Well,
you do now.
I'm
I mean,
told
come on.
that when you get old you do, but it hasn't happened to me. Look at this here. We've got King Jack against Queen Jack on a King Queen flop. I am so lucky has not been lucky here, because he's going to get done.
Look at this little teaser bet from there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear.
But you see, what is Am So Lucky's hand? It's not queens and jacks, is it?
Kings and jacks.
It's kings and it's kings and queens.
Kings and queens, sorry.
Whereas our friend Finsand, is it?
Has the full house.
Has the full house. But this is another thing you have to be careful of, is Am So Lucky thinks he's got queens and jacks, because that's what's in his hand. But his jack has been counterfeited. His jack doesn't play. He's got kings and queens. It is with the jack, but the jack's on the board.
So let's have a look at some of these hands, TK. What would you be doing with these hands? We've got a pair of 8s there, in middle-ish position.
Well, in middle stages of a
late.
comp, I'd be raising standard amount. I have to say, when the blinds are this small, I have trouble getting rid of people. Everybody wants to call when you make a standard raise, and it's maybe 70. Everybody wants to give you look you up. So I don't really raise much with that sort of hand.
Oh,
wow.
This is 8.
He's called his 8.
But he's all in anyway.
It's a shame that that's all the chips he's got, but he's going to take them, that's for sure.
Yes, you can only win off somebody what you have in front of you.
Yeah, he's all in, which simply means that if he had 195 chips, he puts them in, that is to say, all in, and all he can win is his matched stake, plus the blinds, of course.
Blinds.
So we have 2 people flushing here, wife's a bitch, and is that Finsand or Finsland?
Finsland.
Finsland. Is that where Helsinki is?
Well, without the S.
Helsinki.
I'm off to Finland at the end of the next weekend.
For drag racing?
Yep.
Lucky you.
I'm not actually going to be drag racing.
No, I wouldn't want to trust you in a car.
I'm a very good driver, I'll have you know.
How was Santa Pod?
Yes, wonderful.
Nice weather?
We did actually, at one point it did rain and we were a bit worried that we wouldn't be able to get the end of the programme in, or the finals, but track dried and the sun come out.
Wonderful.
So it was lovely. Good atmosphere.
So, wife's a bitch with position here. Finsland's got the bottom pair with an ace. Really, it's they'll probably check this down, I would think.
Nobody's got anything
Very
really.
dangerous board. Not a lot of point betting, because you're only going to get called if you're losing, I think.
And it's a bit of, yeah, he was betting 60 to win 40 as well. It was a bit of a...
He's had a bluff at it, and Finsland doesn't believe him, or her. Takes a small pot. Often you just check on the end. There's nothing to be lost by just checking.
Well, the ace-jack has called. We can see wife's switch there on the dealer button, so he has best position because he's last to act. He can get to see what everybody else does first, which gives him vital information, doesn't it?
Yep. Under the gun, that's a dangerous bet with ace-jack, but in the Saint's position, he doesn't have many chips. It was Hobson's choice, really. He needed to do something. But then when you move with ace-jack, if you get called, you've usually got a problem, because you're losing to a lot of hands. you're obviously losing to any pair. People play hands like ace king and ace queen very strong. If you walk into ace king or ace queen with ace jack, you're in serious poo.
Serious poo?
Yes, it's a technical expression. It doesn't mean what you think it does.
We've got middle pair here for the Saint, so not much going on. Top pair for Swinger. And a gut shot for Wives a Bitch, because he's got ace 3, 4, 5, so a 2 would give him a straight. Now bear in mind, there's only 4 2s in the pack. This is what you've got to remember. This is how we work out how many outs we have. Wives a Bitch has 4 outs to get his straight. Each out we roughly look at, I think it's about 4%. What are you laughing at?
I've just seen an email from the brief, which I don't think we ought to read out personally.
Why? What does it say? Where is it? Let me have a look. I haven't got it online.
Have you tried updating or something?
There we go.
I don't think you ought to read that.
He says, well, the first part of it says, Michelle, lovely to see you on screen again and putting up with the Sonatogen kid.
That's not nice, is it?
Please tell me how you managed to stop him talking to you. I might try it myself. Do you know this person?
It's the estate agent. It was on the other week, Robert.
Oh.
The sheep man. The sheep I won't say sheep molester because I might get sued, but...
Oh, he says, my odds question, he has an odds question as well.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an Aston kid, that's brilliant. My odds question is, did the old man wear the jacket for a bet? If so, what odds did he get? I'm loving this man, this is great. P.S. I'm not an estate agent, I'm a sheep farmer or a Pringle model. He's funny, are you young and cute?
No, he's not. Funny. He's extremely old and he's definitely not cute, I can assure you.
Did you get odds to wear that jacket?
That is discriminatory.
It's hilarious.
We've had a row about this.
I think you look dashing in your jacket.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Thank you. Did you hear that, Robert? You hear that? Dashing.
I've got an email from Helen. Can we do that one?
You certainly can.
Excellent. This is from Helen, who's also Harmony26. Hello, Helen. She says, hi, Michelle and Tikay. Loving the show. Enjoyable and informative as always. Well, thank you very much, Helen. Tikay, I'm sure we'll catch up at some point through the show. She says, hi, Tikay, could you answer a question for me, please? I am fairly new to poker and have been concentrating on playing small stacks, sit and go tournaments on the internet and being reasonably successful by cashing and occasionally coming first. Well done. Especially after watching Tikay on TV, as he's my lucky mascot.
And he's very handsome, it says.
Yes, that's what it says. I'm also trying my hand at multi-table tournaments and learning how to adapt my play to which type of game I am playing. Pleased to say I am beginning to feel less nervous and am enjoying the game a lot more. My partner, Bain, who introduced me to the world of poker, is an excellent teacher and we regularly enjoy live heads-up play. At this stage, I think I would enjoy trying a live tournament or two. However, I have to admit to feeling somewhat nervous at the thought of this transition. I'm a little concerned about what is expected of me in a live tournament environment and how to conduct myself when I am there. Please, Tikay, any advice? All the very best to you and the rest of the queue. Yes, I remember my first ever live tournament. It was on the telly as well. Never played live in my life and I had to play in a live TV.
How intimidating was it?
It was all, I was actually shaking and I had really bad tells. When we had our first break, one of the guys said to me, Michelle, every time you're going to fold, you put your hands to your cards, and every time you're going to bet, you put your hands to your chips. And it was such an awful tale, but I'd never ever played before live. It was so nerve-wracking.
I've rarely met anybody that doesn't quake at the thought of playing live, and it's a shame because it stops many people from playing live tournaments, and live tournaments are the business.
Absolutely wonderful.
There is no more fun to be had in poker than playing live. But what happens is because A, there's nobody to teach people, and B, because it's in the nature of people that when people don't act in the manner that you would expect, others tend to laugh at them or deride them, and so you sit there and you pass out a turn, or you make a mistake, or you have this tell that you're picking your cards up, and then you realise you've embarrassed yourself, and that's very unfortunate. And what you need to do is to go to a venue and find a friend that can just help you. They can't give you hand advice in a hand, but the things that happen that nobody realises this. But when you play online, it's impossible to act out a turn. It can't be done. You can click your button out of turn, but it won't pass your cards or bet out of turn. Yeah?
No.
Or you can check out, but it won't happen until it's your turn to act. But when you play live tournaments, if you're not a regular player, you'll find that although it's not you to act, you're mucking your cards out of turn, which is bad form.
Because you're giving information to people who haven't acted yet.
Correct. And or you'll pick your cards up ready to muck, which gives information to people. And what frightened me on my first event was the thought.
Can you remember?
It wasn't that long ago, actually. I might tell you.
Really?
No, it wasn't that long ago. But I remember passing my big blind because I had a bad cards.
Rather than checking?
Exact. You can't work out, check, wait, what does that mean? And so it got to me, and I had some bus tickets, so I just threw them. And they were saying, no, you don't have to throw them. And so I grabbed them back, and I said, no, you can't touch them now. And I go red, and I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
And this is what worries me about people moving from internet to live, and why I really enjoy helping people who make that transition. We've actually made 2 programs here in which we address this. Now, these Helen, and her name's actually Helen Wilcox,
Okay.
and she lives in Nottingham.
Hello, Helen.
Which, by coincidence, I live in Derby, which is just round the corner. And she has a cat, Wilco. I think it's Wilco. There you go. And a young man lives in Long Eaton, which is round the corner. His name's Bain. And what I'm inviting them to do is to come along to Gala at Knott's on one of the rookie evenings, the £10 evenings, £20 evenings. I won't play. I'll just help you make that transition from internet to live.
So is this going to be available to all our viewers, TK? Are you going to pick yourself around the country, making yourself available?
You laugh at that. I actually love doing that. When I loved it, I introduced a couple to poker about 4 years ago, and they were exactly the same. They were shaking with nerves at the thought of making a fool of themselves. And we met up at Gala in Nottingham, and I arranged that I could sit next to them. And all I would say to them was, look, you can pass at this stage, or you can act at this stage, or you've got to post your blind this time, you've got to make it your small blind. Just these little nudges to help them. And
well, we'll carry on with this. Actually, we'll head back to the game. So we just say bye for now, because we're going to go back to the game. You will see TK and I again at the end of it. But while we're heading back there, it is an important point, because so many people don't play in live games because of being so nervous and because of being so worried about making a mistake and not doing it right. And I think it is important to remember that every other person at that table at some point had to have their first live game and probably did make a mistake at some point.
Yeah, and I'd like to see the casinos make a little more effort, or a little bit of effort, to just help out with this, because it is intimidating. The casinos want more people through the doors. That's what it's about. That's why they hold poker tournaments. The players want to go and play in tournaments. I happen to know this young lady is shaking at the thought of going to a venue, and she's not alone. Many people did, and I bet you was that nervous, weren't you?
Oh, I was
but
really,
if you've had someone that looks after you on the first night, it's easy peasy and tremendous fun, and you have a hobby for life. So yeah, I would like to see, if somebody said to me, okay, there's going to be a dozen newbies at Gala Knott's tonight, or a dozen newbies at Luton tonight, or at Walsall, I would go there if they thought I could help them. Because there's a great sense of achievement out of it, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm quite lucky because, I'm the type of person that's quite happy to go somewhere by myself and do something on my own, and I'll get stuck right in there. But there's so many people out there that can't do it because they feel... But you see them sometimes at casinos standing behind watching the game, but not quite having the guts to go and sit down. And sometimes it's just because they don't quite know if they're allowed to. Am I allowed to go and sit down? What do I have to do?
And then the other piece of advice, and I think Helen, or Harmony 26, has already taken this on board, but if you're not quite sure what to do, join up to a poker forum. There are plenty of them out there, plenty of good poker forums.
Yes.
Join up to a poker forum and say, look, my name's Bert, Susan, Brian, Helen, whatever. I'd like to play live poker, but I'm nervous. I don't have much money. I don't know where to go, what time, how to do it. Can you please help? I bet if you went on to any of the top 3 poker forums in the UK and put that post up, you'd have 20 replies within a day saying, okay, you can go here, you can do that, it's that time, I'll meet you, we'll look after you. You really would, because the poker community really does want to help people.
And it makes it, do you know what, casinos now, they're not quite as James Bond, if you like, as you think they are. When you don't play poker and you haven't been to a casino, you have this image of all these people dressed up in smart clothes, playing in big money games, and that's the image that you automatically have in your head. And it's not like that at all. A lot of the casinos out there now are aimed more at young people. There's bars, there's other things going on. And it's a wonderful night out before you even start playing.
Yeah, you can go and socialise in the bar before the tournament starts. I have to warn you, the problem with poker, one of the problems with poker for working people is they do finish very late, the tournaments, if you're going to go a long way. But then again, if you make the final, you're not going to complain about a late night, are you?
No.
But for those that haven't experienced it, playing live tournament poker is just the greatest fun you can imagine. You can sit, you get to know people, you have a good laugh.
It is wonderful. It's wonderfully sociable.
There is nothing better. So I encourage people, if you haven't played before, get onto a forum, explain your situation, find someone to meet you there, look after you. You'll never forget it, you'll never regret it.
And you don't have to go to a casino. You can go to, there's places like the Gut Shot in London, which is very disformal, very informal. Informal is what I was about to say something else.
Disformal.
You are turning into Casper. He picks me up on everything I get wrong as well.
Yeah, that's the sort of
I actually have my own word here on Poker Night Live, commentation.
Robert the Brief would say. Disformal. Yeah, okay.
Very informal. Thanks for that, TK. Very informal, and you can just go along there and pay some money and sit down, and it's not like a casino, and you deal yourself. And if you don't know how to deal, you just say, look, I don't know how to deal yet, so you deal for me when it's my turn. Yep. And people are quite happy to do that.
Yeah, what Michelle's alluding to there is that occasionally some tournaments are self-deal, not very often, but sometimes. And if you're a newbie, you're frightened of shuffling, frightened of dealing, all you have to do is say to the table, look, excuse me, I don't really want to deal, someone else will deal for you. But generally speaking, a dealer is provided, and I don't want anybody to be put off by that. So if you haven't played before, get yourself on a forum, get some help, get some friends, you'll be looked after. And I think that answers your question, Helen. Just make sure you find your right level of game. And then one other point before we move on from this email, we've spent a lot of time on it, but it is important, is that I happen to know that this young lady played in a women's satellite on Sunday for a seat at the World Series, and she was extremely nervous. Was you nervous when you first played your first live tournament?
What, on the net?
No, when you went live.
When I did the Poker Bowl. My first ever live tournament, the one that I did on the telly. Yeah, no, I was. I was so nervous. I was shaking. And I wasn't making the right decisions because I was so busy worrying about what I was doing.
I'm so pleased. That's the first time you actually said the right thing tonight. I can't believe it. The point being is when people...
Do you know what? I'm just going to go home. Yeah. You do it on your own.
Okay. When people are nervous, they can't play their best game.
No.
And when they're nervous, they don't enjoy themselves as much as they should. So what we have to do is get the nerves out of them so that they're enjoying themselves and playing their best game. And until you get over the nervous stage, that's not going to happen.
So you just have to keep playing.
So just say to yourself, look, if I'm going to be that nervous, that I'm shaking and I'm frightened of making a decision, then I might as well not go. That's no good. It's about enjoying. It's
like anything. Once you've done it a few times, you get into it and suddenly it becomes very easy, and you don't think twice about the fact you're sitting at a live poker table.
Okay, Helen, there you go. We could talk about it all night,
we
have to move on now. I hope you come down to the Gala Knots. You know where to get hold of me, and I'm sure we're going to meet up soon, and we're going to have you loving live poker, and also Bain, aka Christian, as well, please. Right.
We're at a cash... no, we're not at a cash game, are we? We're at a tournament again, by the looks of things.
No, this looks like a $10 sit and go.
It's a $10 sit and go.
Yeah, which is down to 6 players. It's the one with Wife's a Bitch and Finsland. And Swinger, sat in seat 6, has got a mountain of chips, relative. Bear in mind, these guys started with 1,000 each. And so with 6 people left, there was 8,000 chips in play, so the average is what?
Sorry, I wasn't quite listening to what you were saying.
Well, there's 8,000 chips in play. This is what you have to do.
There's 8,000 chips in play, so what's the average chip stack?
Yeah.
1,000?
No, there's 6 players left.
Oh, 6 players, so
yeah, it's roughly 1,300, is it?
500 or something.
How about 1,300? It is important when you're playing, and again, remember this is amateur night, it is important always to remember where you are relative to the, what?
Is that the same as in a multi-table tournament?
Exactly the same.
Oh my God, it was you that told me that then, because I said that the other day, and who was I with? Mark, and he said that it's wrong.
What's wrong?
He says it doesn't make any difference what the average stack is.
Wrong.
Or was it Casper?
Wrong in his opinion.
Ah. And I said, but someone told me, and it really helped. And it did help me when I was playing.
Well, I'm sure when I'm next on with whoever said that, we'll have a debate about it.
Yes, no, we will. I'll find out which one it was.
It is important to understand where you are relative to the average stack at all times.
I think it definitely was Mark, because I said, oh, you should know your average stack, and he says, that's not important, you don't need to worry about that.
Well, that's my opinion, that's his opinion. They may well be different, but it is very, very important to know when you've got to start moving, when you can hang around for a while. It shouldn't affect your play until the very late stages. But in my opinion, if you want to win a tournament, you need to know where you are. Which is why almost every poker site on the web, I can't think of any that don't, will tell you what the average stack is.
Yes.
Why else would they tell you?
Exactly.
You should.
Well, I said this, and he said that if you know what the average stack is, you'll start playing differently.
Well, you might, but then you might have to. Do you not know who said it?
It was. I'm sure it was Mark. It was on Saturday. So
Mark?
we could have another fight night on our hands. That would be wonderful.
Yeah. Okay.
We're actually going to pause this game because we're going to come back for some emails while while Tikay rings up Mark. so we can have an argument. Woo! So we'll just finish the end of this hand. We've got Ace Jack. I don't think Gary Boy's going to call this. He's going to. Wife switch is all in. He can't call. It's a shame because he's put in 160. He hasn't got many left. He's got an ace 3. Wife's a bit just saying, I've got an ace. I've got a big ace. So he's not called. Right, okay, we have some emails here. The first one we'll do is from PNL843. Hello there. He says, is $1,500 a big enough bankroll for the 25-50 cash games? I play short-handed only, and I will be playing an aggressive loose game. I have been depositing $500 a lot, but it seems not to suit my loose short-handed game. So how big does it have to be? Please help. So what do you think, Tikay? Is that enough?
I'd say so, yes. For a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game, I'm assuming you can sit down with $50, and your bankroll is 1,500, so that's 30 buy-ins, 30 pull-ups. And what he's actually saying is, I've been depositing £500 a lot, $500 a lot, but it seems not to suit my loose short-handed game. Well, that implies that we're losing the 500, and it should take you a long time to lose 500 on a 25-50 cash game. That's 10 pull-ups. So I think we need to look at your game rather than the amount that you're putting up on the table or your bankroll. And I think you may be playing too loose, too aggressive. I'm not entirely sure. Perhaps you could clarify that and write to us again. You seem to be saying that you're getting through your $500 fairly quickly and the 1,500 isn't enough. In my opinion, it is enough if you're playing a winning game. So if you could just get back to us and let us know what your records are in terms of what you're winning or losing in this 25 cents 50 cash game, and clarify it, because I'm a little worried here that you're looking at your bankroll and saying, is it big enough, when in fact there's a different problem here. There's a problem here that you're doing something wrong with your game. $500 is a lot of money in one of these cash games. And
loose aggressive is a very difficult style to play and win at, isn't it?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, is that not you?
I'm not exactly loose aggressive. No,
what are you, would you say?
I now mind to the table.
Loose passive?
I'm loose asleep.
Dirty Papa's emailed in and he says...
Dirty who?
Dirty Papa. He says, Michelle, if I ever win £200,000 in a poker tourney, I'd gladly give you £10,000 and I'm sure it'd be worth every penny. See? He says, what I'd like to know is, in Tikay's opinion, this is a proper question for you, how many blinds must you contain in your stack in a sit and go for it not to be considered all-in poker?
Wow, what a question. I think we got 2 minutes to the break, so we're going to struggle with that one. But, you know, really when the blinds get big, when you've only got 3 big blinds, 4 big blinds, 5 big blinds, there isn't a lot of point. What you got to remember is if you've got, let us say you've got 5.5 or 6 big blinds, how many lunges have you got? If you raise 3 big blinds, are you going to be able to pass for the rest if they re-raise you? If you can pass for the rest, fine. But if you've got 4.5 big blinds and you make it 3 big blinds and somebody re-raises you, you can't possibly pass the 1.5 big blinds. So you might as well put the 4.5 big blinds in. That's really the point you've got to consider is, can I get off this hand if I'm re-raised? There is no definitive answer to your question, and we're running out of time pre-break, but that really boils down to, can I pass to a re-raise? If not, stick it all in.
Okay, well, we'll have a look at what some people are doing in tourneys as well. When we come back from the break, I'm going to be playing in a tourney and having a bit of a break. Tikay is going to be talking to you about poker. It's going to be very interesting. We can't wait. And we'll have a look at that multi-table tournament as well and some of our cash games. Don't go anywhere. Tikay and I will return after this very short break. So we'll see you there. I'm going to do well, Tony. I can feel it.
You reckon?
Good evening and welcome back to Poker Night Live. You're right there with your cup of tea, TK. Are you quite comfortable? To be fair, you've got a hard 40 minutes ahead of you.
It's been a while since anybody said that to me.
It is Poker Night Live. We are live. I'm Michelle. I'm your host for the evening. This is TK, our expert of the evening. I'm going to be playing in a game now on the site. I'm going to have a little go, and you're going to take over, aren't you?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
And then at 12 o'clock, we're going to see how I did.
Yep. You're going to win it, aren't you?
I'm going to win it. I'm feeling positive.
That's
Do you know
good.
what? I'm 9 times in the money and 8 times out the money.
50-50.
Just about, yeah. So it's not bad.
And they are 8-player sit and goes.
Yep.
So that's better than average.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, right?
That is fantastic. Have you been very lucky?
No, I've been skillful.
Okay, well,
of course. How could you think otherwise?
I wish you well tonight.
So I'm actually going to get on with that. So you're going to take over.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
So what we'll do while in the 3 or 4 minutes that Michelle's in this competition
Thanks for the support.
is
That's right. Positive thinking.
We'll
That's
go
what I
to
need.
our $10 sit and go. We're in level 3, I think. Blinds 40-80. There are 6 of the original 8 runners left. And we picked it up where we left it earlier, with Swinger pretty much dominating the affair. Cat's Eyes has got a very difficult hand here. What would you do in this situation? He's got a pair of jacks, but the ace has flopped, so he doesn't know where he stands. He thinks his jacks are losing, so he's sitting there and checking. And it may well be that he'll still win this, but if somebody makes a bet at it, like Finsland, who's got the 8, he might have to put these jacks down. Let's see if he's able to call this. 80 into a 320 pot, he must call. He has to call this. In fact, he's read the situation perfectly. Good on your Cat's Eyes. He's re-raised. He doesn't believe Finsland has got the ace. Finsland will now pass. I absolutely promise. Go on, pass.
Oh, I'm just
There
trying
you
to
go.
look for Merlin, but I couldn't
No, he
find him.
called. Goodness me. Well, I got that wrong. But Cat's Eyes got it spot on. You had a pair of jacks and a queen, a king, or an ace flops. You don't know where you are. You think you're losing. This is what I think you have to do. Is you have to put a probe bet in. You have to try and find where you are. It's no good just checking. But to be fair to Cat's Eyes appeared to know where he or she was right from the very start there, because right at the end he put a big raise in. But really, that's the thing to do, is find out where you are in a hand, and you can't find out without betting. It's going to cost you some chips. Has to be done, I'm afraid. When you see the ace flop, you assume you're losing. It's not always the case. So have a little bet. You never know, you might just take it down. In that case, knew exactly where it was. Now he's got Jack 10 against Queen Deuce. He's got top pair. The Saint has got no real draw. And so he takes another pot down. And Cat's Eyes is now in clear second place with the Swinger. In fact, we have 2 players who are pretty short, which is Finsland and Gary Boy, is that? Can't quite see from here. In seat 8. What does that say, Michelle?
Where? Which
In
one?
Seat 8.
Seat 8 is, well, it's Garw boy, so Gar boy, but just call him Gary, I'm sure you won't
Okay,
mind.
Gar Boy. So he's fairly short, or she's fairly short. Could be a she. And the Saint is on a roll here, because picked up kings, and is going to get some action, I suspect, from Cat's Eyes, who has a lovely button hand, ace jack suited. But by a button hand, you're in late position, and so it's a good stealing position. And in fact, he hasn't done what I thought he would have done. He's just limped. He's going to take a flop. Or he may be limping with a view to a check raise, but he's limped with his ace jack suited. He's called, and he's called a monster. He's called a monster. He's got 4 to the nut flush, top pair, jack kicker, and poor Saint with the kings is going to lose this hand. Can he get off it? That is the point. Because Cat's Eyes has moved in, I think the Saint is going to escape. And Julie does.
By the way, Mrs. Fast Bandit wants to know if
Mrs.
you're...
who?
Mrs. Fast Bandit, also known as Beth, wants to know if you're available, because she says she's looking for a new granddad with a good wallet to adopt her.
It's going to be a game.
What? I think she means it's a nice thing.
Grandad. when I first came on this show, which wasn't very long ago, I had some fun with the Scottish people and the Welsh people, and I got in a lot of trouble because they all thought I was serious. So because I'm having a bit of a poke at Michelle tonight, I want you to understand that I really do mean it.
See how funny you are? Are you sure you only do poker? Have I not seen you at Jongleurs?
Jongleurs?
Comedy club?
No, you're not doing Jongleurs. We've seen Gary Boy with his pair of ladies here, put a nice raise in, and got called by ace-3, which, you know, with respect is, well, I never think the play's a bad play, but it's not a play I can make, you know, where you're not beating anything with ace-3, that's for sure. And now he's got himself in trouble because it's a big pot. He's only got 800 left. There's 880 in the pot. He's missed, and Gary Boy, Goro Boy's going to keep betting. And Wife's a bitch done a lot of chips in this pot. Oh my goodness, he's called again, or she's called again, and done most of his stack with ace-3. Very, very strange play. All you're beating with ace-3 really is ace-deuce. There's no real handout that you beat. If you catch the ace, yeah, you're going to win, but it's not a play I'm very comfortable with, if I'm honest with you. Finsler's now all in, no choice, with blinds at 40-80. He's only got 110, so he's found Queen 5, which is just about an average hand, blind. And he's made his play, her play. Walks into chip leader one swinger with 29.60, and one swinger has caught it hard, although a 10 would get Finsland out of trouble. The 10 doesn't come, Finsland is toast. And so that leaves us with 5 runners. Wife's a bitch, Cat's Eyes, the Saint, one swinger, and Gary Boy. This is moving like a really, really good lick. I don't know how one swinger's going to lose it, but it's often the case that chip leader falls over at the end. No real hands here, but with 380 chips and blinds at 40-80, Wife's a bitch might take a fly at this one, and does. Queen 10 suited, very pretty hand. Cat's Eyes will let go. The blinds are successfully taken. Wife's a bitch survives, and in fact, by taking the blinds out, pays the rent for another round. Now finds ace-8 on the button, the still position, and so I suspect we'll make a play at this pot. A pot size raise would be something like 300. He's not going to pass to a re-raise, so he either moves all in or he lets it go. That would be my play here. One or the other. Have to be brave. Let's see what he does. I fancy he ought to move all in here. Does that. Gets it past Cat's Eyes. And it'd be unfortunate if he doesn't get past the Saint, because the Saint's only got 740. It's all in. And it's better to move first than to react to someone else's play. So I would think the Saint would let this go after giving it the customary dwell, and does so. And Wife's a bitch now goes to 620. So the comeback continues. Another semi-pretty hand here. They're going to attack the Saint because the Saint doesn't have much in the way of blinds, but they can't attack the big blind because the big blind has so many chips. So Saint just limps. He catches a gut shot straight draw, but so does one swinger. He's a bit strangled here, to be truthful. He's going to need to catch the jack. Or I suppose another 7. No, another 7 would be no good because that would give one swinger the straight. So he's in a bit of a hole here, the Saint. He needs to just check. I don't think betting is ideal here. Lets it go, quite wise. So, 5 left. Lovely hand on the button for the Saint. And what will happen here is the Saint will move in for his last 580, or her last 580. Pot size raise is 560 approximately. He's got 580. So the perfect situation with a pair of 9s on the button. It will look like a steal. And he might have got caught by a worse hand. As it happens, Gary Boy on the big blind has got the big slick ace-king. So I'm absolutely sure we'll look him up. We'll call this raise. Does. The 9s stay ahead.
Hoik Balls thinks you're doing great, by the way.
Whom?
Hoik Balls.
Oh, he's Hoik Balls and I. We got off on the wrong foot.
Aww.
On week 1. That's true. We got off slightly the wrong foot because as I was being a little rude about a certain nationality, shall we say, and he thought I was being serious. But we're friends. We kissed and made up, and we're having babies now.
Really?
Yep.
How's that going for
He's
you?
going to be the mum.
Well, we'll...
What did you thank you for me, please?
Yes. Thank you.
So, wife's a bitch with a small ace. Likes these small aces moved in. That, in this case, not the worst thing in the world to do, to be honest with you, with that stack. But he's walked into a pair of tens, and he's going to need to catch his ace here. Misses it, and says good night. We saw wife's a bitch do a lot of chips here with ace 3 and ace 4, and all I can say to those that are fairly new to the game is these are not good hands to move with. They just aren't. Many people will play any sort of ace from ace 8, ace 9, ace 10 upwards. You're in a whole pile of poo with ace 3 against these hands, or against any pair. The chances are you're drawing to 3 outs. So please don't be falling in love with your aces if they're very small. If they're really small, like the kicker is another ace, well, get in. So 4 people left: Cat's Eyes, Saint, Ice Swinger, and Gary Boy. The Saint's got a small pair. If he sees the flop, there may be overs. He's going to be lucky to hit a set because the guy behind him is sitting with a deuce. He makes the call. Very hard to play a pair of 2s with people behind you, I can tell you. He doesn't know where he is at all. He's got no idea whether anybody's hit that. No idea. And I think he's going to let this go now. Great play by Gary Boy. Wow. No hand. Bets out and gets rid of Swinger. Way to play.
Eddie Boy would like to say thank you because you stuck up for his play last time you were on. And Fifi says, can you speak up a bit? Because he's got his computer on full volume and he can't hear you properly.
Has anybody else had difficulty hearing me?
Yeah, Fifi, maybe it's just you getting on a bit.
Well, I'll just give you a lecture about small aces. And here we have Cat's Eyes with pocket queens, a monster hand. Walks into Gary Boy's ace 4 who flops the ace, but just to get me out of trouble, rivers the set of queens and quite correctly and justifiably takes the hand. So Gary Boy's gone from chit second to down amongst the dead men now. Moves all in with 6-5. He's going to get almost certainly looked up by the Saint, who's pot committed. Saint hits that flop hard, 2 pairs. And Garber is drawing dead here. He is out, and the Saint takes a nice pot. So very quickly we're down to 3. Well, it's got to be said the blinds are 640, 1280, and the average stack is 2,600 amongst 3 players. So the average stack is 2 big blinds. So this is going to be a bit crapshooty, and the best player won't necessarily win here. It's the bravest player who gets their chips in and gets fortunate. So Cat's Eyes hits his flop monstrously hard. He's got the, he's dominated, but this is a beauty of poker. He's got 8-3 against ace 3. You can't be more dominated than that, and yet he's flopped a set of 8s and will take this pot for absolute sure and becomes the chip leader. And Swinger goes down into second place. The Saint hanging on grimly with 920 with blinds at 640, 1280. Cat's Eyes catches this flop as well. Saint moves in. Second pair for Cat's Eyes, so has to call. Oh, and now the Saint's called 2 pair. And so takes that pot, rather surprisingly, and is up to chip leader. The Swinger will go all in here with pocket 4s, leading before the flop. Saint, with any sense, will get out the way, and with any luck, he will see one of his 2 opponents obliterated, eliminated. Will be heads up, but no, takes a flop. Catches a straight draw, catches top pair, but Swinger has flopped the set. So Cat's Eye with a Queen 10 goes. Swinger with the set of 4s goes in with the best hand, comes out with easily the best hand, and now the Saint has to get very, very lucky. No options here at all in. Ace 7 is a monster hand anyway, 2-handed. Swinger can't pass. Swinger can't pass. Don't pass, Swinger. Oh dear, it's a monster flop. Up and down and 4 to the flush. Although the Saint leads with the 7. And it's good enough. The 7 takes it. And these two are now fairly level in chips, but it's still going to be an all-in fest. What happens in these situations, it's first to move takes. And again we have the weird situation that the swinger had queen 3 and the saint had queen deuce, but the swinger is 83,000 miles ahead, having flopped a set. The saint doesn't know this, he just doesn't want to be bluffing at this, and no he doesn't. So the saint with jack 10, pretty, but only 1700 chips. Swinger with jack 7, again we see a dominated hand. And the swinger's got a gut shot straight. The swinger wants the saint to hit his 10, because it would have been a straight. Ace 8, queen 10. The swinger's ahead here. The saint needs to catch a queen or a 10, or he's going to be down to 480. He misses. The swinger takes it with 2 pairs, 8s and 6s with an ace. And now with blinds at 640, 1280. It plays itself. The saint gets his last chips in at 8-4, hits the flop. It's going to take a 9 to get the swinger out of this. The 9 misses, doubles up. This won't take long, I promise. Still doesn't have enough for a big blind. 9, 7, 3, 8, and once again the inferior hand flops ahead and stays ahead. So he's back up to nearly 2,000 now. Only one move here, all in. Takes it. Dominates swinger here, and I think only one move again. If I were the saint, I'd be chucking it all in. Well, now they haven't chucked it all in, so he doesn't quite know where he is. First to bet wins now. You're swearing over there and huffing and puffing.
Because when I've got aces, no one wants to play with me.
Shh, it's a secret.
Well, it's not now, it's gone. All folded.
Well, perhaps you overbet it or something.
Didn't.
I didn't. Well, the saint keeps catching flops here and has gone from down to the felt to chip leader. And the swinger's going to need a queen or a 5 on the river to survive this hand. It doesn't come. It's a full house for the saint. 7s over 4s. The saint's now up to 7,680 and the swinger is all in. But in the nature of this game, catches top pair, the saint catches second pair, and so the swinger doubles up, but not a great deal of chips to be truthful. It's still all in every hand, and now it's 5 deuce against 4-8. Again, the worst hand is winning. The deuce hits, and the deuce wins. So the swinger doubles up for the 3rd hand in a row, and the important thing here for the saint is not to lose the nerve. Just keep shoving in every hand. Once again, the worst hand flops ahead, but not now. A 7 or a 5 is going to be necessary, or it's all over. It is all over. 2 pair for the saint, and the saint is our winner. Congratulations. And now we move straight across without even gathering breath to the MTT. Which is at this present stage in the level of 150-300. So it's moved along quite rapidly, and we'll try and have a look in a minute and see how many runners are left. Our friend Hi-Ho333, who has 11,600 chips, is the tournament leader at present. There are 2 tables left. There were 10 tables. 16 players out of the original 74 stand up. The average stack, which some people say isn't important, but I think it is just under 7,000. And the biggest stack is held by Hi-Ho333 with 11,000. The smallest stack has 1,760, which is still playable with blinds at 150-300. So we're down to 2 tables. And let's see this play out for a little while now. We have Pascalil, is that? Takes that down. 7-8 on tilts here. Puck Jr., Paul 8-ball. These are all regulars. Oh, there's Johan on the button in C8. Not too many chips, though, I'm afraid. Johan only has 1 move. He has just about a 1 lunge. There is the lunge. Sorry? What's the matter with you?
Everybody in the chat box is being very childish, and they're all typing in swear words to see which ones are filtered out.
I see. Well,
it's all very mature here on this table.
Johan made his lunge there with Queen 10. Absolutely the correct move with those chips. He got looked up as he was likely to be. He missed. And so is history now. Now we have 5 people on this table, so it's reasonable to assume that there are 9, 10 or 11 people left, because what happens at this stage of the tournament is the tables get balanced. You can't have 8 people on one table and 5 on another. That would be unfair because the blinds would cost more on the 5-handed table. So every time somebody busts out, they balance them. So if you're on a table, an 8-seater table with 5 players, and the 2 tables left, you know for sure that the other table must have 4 players, 8 players, sorry, 4 players, 5 players or 6 players. They have to balance out. There's a cruel beat for Hi-Ho, who goes in with queens against 4s, and Paul 8-ball manages to catch the set and gets nicely paid and becomes, I suspect, our chip leader. That was cruel, but that's poker. So we have a new chip leader. We now made the final. We know that because we were 2 tables, there's now 1. So we know there are 8 players left, and it looks to me like our chip leader is Hooch 007. That's the one I seem to spy as being in the lead. Just behind is Paul 8-ball with 10,300, 78 on tilt. Pascal, Hi-Ho, up the Rams. I assume that's a reference to a football team. Do you know who the Rams are?
The Rams? No.
Rams of Derby County. And just while he's playing, can I make an apology to Ramchip? I was playing online the night before last, maybe last night, in a big competition, and Ramchip came along and said, "Hi, is that TK from Poker Night Live?" And by the time I was able to type a response, he'd gone. So I wasn't ignoring you, Ramchip. I'm sorry I missed you. Thanks for saying hi. This is going to get quite interesting here because up the Rams has got Ace-King. With blinds at this size, this is when you can play Ace-King strongly. This is when you can get rid of people. And the traditional way online to play Ace-King is to move in. 7-8 on tilt, quite reasonably has limped on the button with Jack-10. Paul 8-ball's made up the small blind with 4-9, and against Jack-10 and Ace-King he's winning. You'd do well to know that. 7-8 on tilt has got 2 overs, so he might well say, okay, I'll call this. But he wisely gets out of the way, and the worst hand takes that. Good play by Paul 8-ball. No big hands out here. See if anybody's going to get daring. Please don't play this Ace-3. Please don't play it. Don't play it, please. Please don't play it. He's going to listen to me, and you see, he's took my advice and raised. Well, if he's going to take the pot, he's done nothing wrong. But to be honest with you, up the Rams ought to call with 7-8 suited in the blinds. So there's me saying you shouldn't play Ace-3. He's played it, he's took the chips. Please be quiet, TK. Puck Jr.'s got the first hand for a long time. He's been sat there very quiet and patiently, not caught much. He's got a hand here. Wow. Well, Puck Jr., we can't see it here, but I believe Puck Jr. is disconnected because 7-8 on tilt just limped, and Puck Jr. I'm sure doesn't pass that hand with those chips at this stage with a limper behind. So we've got to assume he's disconnected. 7-8 on tilt's got a bit of this flop. Hoochie's got a bit more. 2 pairs, in fact. Nothing will make Hooch put this hand down. It's a shame 7-8 on tilt doesn't have a jack. A shame for Hooch, that is. Will he let go here? He'll be wise to. He does. Are you still in?
I am still in, but I've been a little bit unfortunate on a couple of hands, I have to say. I'm still in.
How many left? It's a
7.
7, very good. Well, I may have confused them because seat 1's arrived from somewhere with Nash Anubis. I said we only had 2 tables left. I don't know where he's come from. Perhaps I just missed him before. Okay, well, this we'll come back to the MTT when it reaches its climatic moment of excitement. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to move across to a cash game. This will be a 25 cents, 50-cent cash game, and we have the usual suspects here, or many of them. I'm certainly, in Poker Night Live terms, I'm familiar with Morrison 24 and Latinator. We also have Nick N1, Quinn 132, Renovator, IRLD, whatever that means, Robin Joanne, and one whose name is XDV6, or XDV6, I'm not quite sure which. I'm going to call him X. It's 25 cents, 50 cents, so we make the assumption that they can sit down with 50 bucks. And that tells us that even though they may have pulled up, the probability is that Latinator in seat 1 and Quinn in seat 2 are both doing very nicely, sitting with 111, 139. When you go onto a cash table, and you know there's a maximum pull-up is the maximum amount you can put on the table. Let's say the maximum pull-up is 50 bucks. When you go onto a cash table, you see someone set with 300 bucks. That's the best clue you can have to their form or their ability. You know you're against somebody that's hitting cards or playing well. Because they haven't been able to pull that much money up, I don't imagine. They've won it. So, A, it's more money to win, but B, you're playing against good players. Here we have an odd situation. We have two ace-kings. And neither of them decide to let go. Everybody has bus tickets here. A reasonable limp on the blind with Jack-9. Nothing wrong with that. Catches top pair. Catches a flush draw. Won't let go now. Not going to get paid, though, because in the button IRL, on the big blind, IRLD has no hand. So that's the way you want the pots. Keep them small, take them quick, take the money. Big pots are fine when you win them. They're not for just, you open your bag of, oh my goodness, if only you could see what's happening here.
No, I forgot, I have to have my lucky food.
Yeah.
Would you like one?
No, thank you. I refuse to touch your chocolate buttons. So, Quinn with ace-queen suited, pretty hand, definitely a raising hand. Why do we raise at this stage? For lots of reasons. What we really want to do is thin the field out. We've only got ace high. Nobody else had a hand, but if you limp with ace-queen, then you're going to get all sorts of people and somebody's going to hit something. And bear in mind, ace-queen's not a hand until it hits. Unless you get called by ace-jack or ace-10, it's not beating anything. So you have to thin the field out when you have these sort of hands. Morrison's chosen an unfortunate time to make a bit of a lunge with 7-6 because he walks into Robbie and Joanne with pocket jacks. There's a quick re-raise, a re-pop, and Morrison does the sensible thing and says that was a misread and gets out of the way. Robbie Joanne's hitting cards here because now got ace-king suited. I suspect will raise strongly here. The Queen 10 suited, pretty hand. That re-raises, or raises, I beg your pardon. And Robin and Joanne just takes a flop and decides to call the re-raise, which is quite a play I quite like, to be honest with you. And now IRLD has hit this flop, and Robin Joanne may be able to get off it if he believes IRLD. Not much in the pot. Why doesn't he just let go now? We've missed this flop. The way to play ace-king, if you don't hit it, is get out of the way. You can raise big before the flop and get rid of people, but if you call to take a flop and miss, accept your medicine and get out of the way. No real hands here. When Michelle's playing a beta presenter, she spends more time chatting to the fellas in the chat box than actually playing.
It's not the fellas, I'm talking to Fast Bandit.
Is Fast Bandit a young lady?
Yeah, she's a fellow girly, along with Circle and Snakey. What do you think about in the doing in the chat box? Do you chat much?
I do, yeah. We talk about more interesting things though. Trains, penguins, bridges.
Robin Joanne says hello.
Who?
Robin Joanne.
Is that? Oh, Robin Joanna is seat 8 here.
Oh yes, there she is.
Play we have been. Is it a she? A young lady?
Yep.
Well, I have to say, Robin Joanne, you're playing beautifully here. I like the way you played that Ace King just now. You missed the flop. Someone bet into you. You got out the way. Talking of which, we have King Jack against King Queen. King Jack is dominated and hits 2 pair. IRLD with a King Queen thinks he's winning. This pot could get quite tasty. It is already 12 bucks. The ace is going to slow them down now, I suspect. Latinator would still think he's winning. Big pot now. Puts a bet in on the end, gets called, takes it. Nicely played. Horrible situation for IRLD there. Not much getting off it. So say to Robin Joanne, yeah, you're playing great stuff here. Well done. So Robin Joanne's playing the cash game and is now in Beat the Presenter.
No, she's not in this particular game.
Oh, she's just on the chat
watching,
box.
yeah,
I
she's saying hello.
I understand. Where does she live?
I don't know. Shall I ask her?
I don't know.
Where do you live, Joanne? I think TK fancies you.
In my situation, one has to explore.
Milton Keynes.
One has to explore all avenues.
Milton Keynes, she says.
Well, well, well. Near Centre Pod.
Yes.
So Ace 10, King Queen, Jack 8. I do think what's nice about poker is when you get to know people through a chat box. You know,
It's funny, isn't it?
You can go online, you meet people, you know, you play on a big site and a big comp, and you play people from all over the world in real time. You play in a competition like the one you're playing in, and if it's a nice atmo, you get people from all over the UK, you start chatting to each other, and you get respect for each other.
Yeah.
I think that's nice. So Jack 8, King Queen, Latinator has worked his stack up to 120 bucks. I haven't seen Quinn do too much yet. We've got plenty of chips. And we have some pretty hands out here. I like Morrison's King Jack, but then I have the advantage of seeing everybody else's hand. But it's a pretty hand, King Jack suited, particularly in the small blind. Now we have one of those small aces, an ace 4. Oh! Well, they both caught some of this. IRLD's caught bottom pair, but Morrison's caught top 2 pair. Now, you may actually play this slowly because he's trying to get the maximum value. There is a straight draw out. You can get away from it if the straight hits. But he's winning by a long, long way. I don't think anything will make him put his hand down. Bet's big now. IRLD is going to pass. Giving it the customary dwell. Let me think. I've got a monster here, but I might let you live. Okay, I'll let you live. Before passing bottom pair on the flop. Morrison with the big slick now. Ace King. Stevie, as we should call him, has got Ace Jack with these 2 lock horns. Queen's got a nice hand as well. Queen 9 suited.
Do you like that?
In a cash game, I'm going to take a flop with that. Yes. In a cash game, I play cash totally different to tournaments, and I imagine most people do. But I definitely take a flop with this hand. And but now that Morrison has signalled a very strong hand, he's got out the way. But you know, it depends how much it is. I might just take a flop with Queen 9. And obviously, it's a long way behind Ace King, but not as far behind as you might think. Because effectively it's only about 55-45, maybe 60-40. So all this is cruel. Renovator's got the kings, Stevie's got Ace 6, which is no hand, and catches 2 pair. And Renovator's kings are dead unless he can catch a third one. It depends how well Steve milks this. There's only $5.75 in the pot. X really wants to be betting Little Each Street here. Oh my goodness, a full house now. That is so cruel. It's a very cruel game, poker. The best hand doesn't always win. He's probably overbet that. A small bet, a value bet, would have been better there. because he doesn't get paid anything by moving all in. But got to feel sorry for Renovator with the kings. But now we have a dreadful incident developing. The situation is going to arise here. Nick N1 has the kings and X Stevie has the aces. So let's see how these two play. Let's see if you would play it the same. Let's make the assumption that everybody else is going to get out of the way. Incredibly, where is the button? Incredibly, Nick N1 with the kings and X Stevie have both limped. Sneaky stuff. Nobody's hit any of this. This is very sneaky stuff.
Yes! Sorry.
I just popped my arm around Michelle and she said this big exaltation of happiness came out. So Nick N1 with the kings keeps betting away. He thinks he's miles ahead. X Stevie X is playing this very cool. Now puts a little re-raise in. Nick N1 calls it. He knows his kings are ahead, but he's wrong. It's a very odd board actually, because there's two queens and two eights there. So it's very, very tricky. They've played that very slyly, the pair of them, and easy to criticise them, but you know, that's the way to get value. But when the board pairs twice, you don't quite know where you are, and ace queens are likely holding. Ace queen would have been a full house. But it's nice to see aces and kings against each other like that. It usually ends in tears. So Morrison has got a pair of six, misses a flop, but catches a poor flush draw. Quinn misses a flop as well, but catches a 10 flush draw. Nick N1, well, it's good night time. These two are dueling with their single heart. And Morrison knew where he was. His pair of six were good. He takes the pot. Well, I hope none of these guys with the king plays, because we've got a king 2, a king 3 and a king 5. There's no hands here really. When you're playing these games, sometimes you just got to say, look, I've got no hand, I'll just pass. You know, sit and chat, enjoy the scenery, have a good time, chat up the valet, feed the cat, whatever. But you don't have to play every hand, you can get out the way. Are you still in this sit and go thing?
Yeah, I'm still there. Steve Phantom raising me when I don't want him to. What's he up to, eh? You can see that I've put in a raise. What's he playing at?
Well, Renovator's in the big blind wins with 3-4. Queen Jack passes. Stevie's picking up some nice hands. Pocket nines. No action. To be truthful, you don't want much action with pocket nines. Not too many flops are nice. And everybody's got a bag of spanners here. 7 deuce, 5 deuce, jack, queen 4. Again, you're not forced to play hands. Just pass, move on. Enjoy yourself. Remember that playing cash can be very boring. Playing tournament poker can be very boring. So, you know, find a way of amusing yourself. But don't abuse yourself by limping and calling me rubbish. Some people would say the greatest asset you're going to have in these games is patience. Renovated with ace 3. Let's go. And again, there's no hands here. It's 8-9 against 4-5. And Morrison makes up, hopes to get a cheap flop. Robin Joanne plays excellent. You're not having a cheap flop. That's what's called limper's tax. If you've got a limp, I'm going to raise and steal those limps. That's exactly what he did. He knows his hand's not winning, 4-5. But because Morrison limped, he says, that's weakness, I'm taking it. Good play. Quinn has aces. Can he get on? He's on big blind, which is a perfect place to be before the flop with aces. But it's not a good place to be after the flop. And he gets some action with suited connectors, but sadly for Quinn. The suited connectors missed completely. He really wanted him to catch some of that. Puts a little milking bet in, enough to keep Stevie interested. Stevie's actually got a gut shot straight now. A 5 would be a very cruel card, but Quinn's playing this nicely. It's going to be another small bet here, I fancy. Pot size bet. Given the hands out, that's the most money that Quinn could get off that hand. And played it supremely well, I think. Quinn now with the full Wilson, which is 7-4 off, named after Mr. Wilson. Latinator with one of those horrible aces I keep talking about. It's not the worst hand in the world in the blinds. Well, it's come 3 diamonds. There's only 1 diamond out, and ex-Steve has that, and it's a good diamond too. There's an over diamond. Well, nobody got much of this, but I don't suppose ex-Steve is going to go.
Robin Joanne says, wait a few hands and see her get her tushy slapped.
She said what?
Wait a few hands and see her get her tushy slapped.
Right. A tissue?
Tushy?
Tushy? What's a tushy?
Oh, you're a bit... Have you not heard of that?
A tushy?
Not back in your day. It wasn't called a tushy, was it?
Back in my day, what was that supposed to mean?
It's bum.
A patushy?
No, tushy.
Tushy?
You know, tushy. Shake your tushy.
I have to say there's a demonstration going on in the studio.
I'm actually shaking my tushy.
Yeah, she's shaking her tushy apparently. No, I never knew it was called a tushy. I knew it was called a bum or a bottle.
It's a tushy.
A bottle when I was born, they were called. A tushy. Well, there you go. You learn everything every day. Did you know that, ladies and gentlemen viewers? A tushy is your bottom. Turn into Poker Night Live and be educated. Queen 9, 10-5, King 10. Queen 9 tops top, flops top pair. Queen is plays a nice game, doesn't get involved too often, but when it does get involved, he or she plays the hands nicely. Doesn't necessarily overbet them. I like this person's play, I really do. The top pair here, but he's a long way behind because Nick M1 with 10-5 has flopped a set. So an exploratory bet with the Queen 9. I doubt if he's going to pass the thing, but let's see what Nick M1 raises. Not unreasonably raises because there's a flush draw out. If there's a flush draw out and you've got a set, you really must raise to get rid of people. Because they hit the flush, you may well end up losing. There's some yesing going off next door to me. There's some tushy shaking going on next door. Some breast heaving.
Breast heaving?
Yes. You know what breasts are? What are they called in your day?
Mammaries.
Oh my goodness. We had this interesting hand here with top pair against bottom set. And I wonder if Quinn can get off of this one. Quinn does get off it. Good play. Nobody can let that hand go, but at the end of the day it's one pair. And Quinn sussed out that something was odd about this and got out the way. Good play. 8-9 suited for Morrison, he'll take a flop. Queen 9 suited for Nick M1, he'll take a flop.
It's me and Phantom, which is quite cool.
There's some gesturing going off to my right here. Some get in son type gesturing. Some up yours type gesturing.
Ooh.
Pocket 10s, the flop comes jack high, would you believe?
Oh.
Quinn catches second pair. Now friend ex Stevie, who's on fire, catches 2 pair, top 2, and now has a full house.
Right, it's finished.
Well, look at this, full house against pocket 10s. Now I think Robin Joanne is drawing dead here. Maybe this is what Robin was talking about, getting her, was it tushy did you say?
Tushy.
Tushy spanked. Oh dear, oh dear. Robin Joanne has got tushy spanked. Very unfortunate when you've got pocket 10s and you walk into Jack 7 and the Jack 7 makes a boat, which is slang for a full house. But it's just one of those things, you have to understand in poker that that's the nature of the game. And if you've got top pair, if you've got a pocket pair and the betting is suspicious, don't just carry on betting blindly, think about it. Why is this person doing this? Is this person at it? Or has this person got some sort of hand? There's some sort of rubbing of hands and readjusting of brassiers going on to the right. So
You are a cheeky chappy tonight.
I'm not wrong though, am I?
You're not wrong, no. Well, we're going to do some emails because we're going to a break in a minute, so I think we're going to come out of this now. Very exciting game that I just played. I think you should watch it.
Well, we're watching it after the break, presumably.
We're going to watch it after the break, and I think I played well.
Oh, I'm sure
It'll be
you
interesting
did.
to see what you think.
I'm sure you played fantastic.
Right, did you do any emails while I was?
No, I was busy.
Oh, you were busy, were you?
I was busy.
Sure, we've got one from Joey the Lips.
From Joey the Lips.
He says, hello, I've been playing for 3 months with a limited success. However, recently I have managed to put some Poker Night Live advice into practice, and I'm finding I have modest success. I can't talk, too excited about the game. In small buy-in multi-table sit and goes. Joey, I am the Lips. My problem comes when I get to the final 2 or 3 players where the blinds are comparatively huge, come thick and fast, and the players rarely see a flop. At this stage, what tactic can be employed to avoid the tournament descending into a crapshoot? And that's where the blinds are so high, everyone's just a bit lucky. If 2 players have 7,500 chips and the blinds are at 1,200 and 2,400, it becomes almost impossible to play a hand without risking everything. Help would be very much appreciated.
Well, I'm afraid you're talking to the wrong person here. I'm famous or infamous for my short-handed play being absolutely atrocious.
Yes, you did say this before.
Yeah, when you came in tonight, you mentioned that incident at the gut shot last year in the gut shot London Masters, which was 22,000 to the winner, and I started the heads up with a huge lead and finished the heads up with approximately no chips. So I'm not.
Do you practice on your heads up then?
I have practiced. I'm just hopeless at it. I'm just hopeless. A guy from Scotland once beat me 5-0. I mean, it's just a shame.
Really?
Can you believe it?
Well,
anyway,
when it gets to that ridiculous kind of crapshoot it's just all in, isn't it? When you've got
so what I'm saying is,
cards.
I'm not really qualified to give advice on this, but what the example you've given here with 2 or 3 players left, and the blinds are 1,200, 2,400, and the average stack is 7.5. Really, you don't have any other move except all in. And the key to this is very, very important, is aggression will win the day. It's the first to act that will take the victory in most cases. If you're going to start calling with all sorts of hands, you're going to be in trouble. So the aggressive player will bring home the bacon more often than not, because they get in first. You always want to be acting first, because if you've got deuce 3 and you move in first, your opponent might have deuce 4. Now the opponent's winning but doesn't know how weak your hand is. So by moving first, you've got 2 ways of winning it. One is you can flop the winning hand. 2 is you can take it without a flop. So if it's 2 or 3-handed, in the scenario that you've given us, you don't have any options. You have to move in, but do not be calling unless you have a big hand.
Thank you, TK. And we have one here from Cherrett, who says, hi, TK, just to prove that I do watch your show, I do think that the comments that you are making on playing live games is very true. It took me about 4 hours to start to calm down when I went to Paris, and it was the second day before I got to feel comfortable with the pros that were sitting all around me.
How long have we got before the break?
About a minute and a half.
Well, we'll probably come back to Tom after the break, but I met Tom in Paris. Tom won a qualifier on online site, 1,400 runners, and he won a seat to the WPT in Paris, which is a €10,000 buy-in, 7,000 quid. And I was in Paris last week, and Tom came up to me and said hi, and we became friends. So perhaps we can return to Tom after the break when we've got a little bit more time. But delighted that Tom's watching the programme. Thank you very much for the email. We'll tell a little story about Paris when we come back. Paris was wonderful last week, I have to say.
Didn't invite me, did you?
Well, I only had 1 room.
It's all right. I sleep on the couch.
There was no couch.
You can sleep on the couch. Well, we are heading to a break. When we come back, we can have a very exciting sit and go tournament that I just played in.
By the way, I went to Paris with a young lady.
Did you? Oh, darling.
Sadly, not mine, but...
Well, yeah, so we're going to go to break. Do remember, if you have any questions or comments on anything you've seen, please do contact us. We do like to hear from you. It's 84222 on the text and poker@pokernightlive.co.uk on the email. Any questions for TK or me?
And we'll come back to Tom after the break.
And
at
we
some
will come
stage.
back to Tom, yes.
Yeah.
So don't go anywhere, but we'll have more from the multi-table tournament, and we'll have that sit and go tournament that I played in when we come back from the break. So don't go anywhere. Check out the website while we're away, pokernightlive.co.uk, and we'll see you in a minute. Good morrow, and welcome back to Poker Night Live. Are we in the morrow yet? We are.
Well, no, because it's today.
How are you, TK? Did you enjoy your egg omelette in the break?
I thought we weren't going to mention that.
Right, well, if you've only just joined us...
May I just... We weren't going to mention the fact that I had Chinese. I had an egg omelette. I suppose all omelettes are egg omelettes, aren't they? So while I was eating my egg omelette, Michelle was surfing. I think the website was called Young, Free and Single.
TK, I was shopping for men.
Yes, that's the sort of lady she is. Just a minute. I was shopping for men. Is that right?
You can talk. I saw you on Babes R Us.
What's it called? Babe?
To fill in our time here. Right, okay. Well, what should we do?
Well, clearly that there's a vacancy available, so perhaps if you'd like to email
If you're young
in.
and hot, or Patrick Antonius, or Cam Gigandat, then do email in. By the way, if you have got anything you'd like to ask, or questions or comments, you can text and email. There's the email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. That's it, TK. You stuff your face with omelette while I do the show. Or you can text the word poker and your question to 84222. What do you think, TK?
I agree entirely.
Why don't you visit the website as well, pokernightlive.co.uk? And there is a wonderful forum up there. You can really get chatting with us. You're just still chewing. You can you can get really chatting with them.
A one camera shot, couldn't it? Just for that one moment.
See, when I eat, I get a still of me stuffing something in my face, and they put it up.
Well, you was eating a chocolate cake with your fingers.
That was my birthday, and it helps me win.
Did you find any decent fellows at the break?
No.
No.
Right, we've got Beat the Presenter now, which I played in before the break. So we'll have to see how you think I did, and if I made the right decisions
Well, there was a lot
at the
of
right
oohs
time.
and ahs.
Yes, I'm a very animated poker player. I've just seen me in a live game. Right, let's have a look. See what I did right and what I did wrong. There I am, top left. Big shout out to Monkey Boy, New Steve, Johan Harron, Morrison, Chelsea, The Phantom, Anjo, and Chip Nurse. That's me.
I played a site last week I'd never played before. I shan't mention its name. But it had a feature I've never seen on an internet website before, an internet card room. Is you could press a little button and the seats would move round.
Really?
So you can see that where you're in seat 8.
I love stuff like that.
If you were you're trying to multi-table and had 3 or 4 tables and you want all the seats in the right place.
Yeah.
You can press a button and the chairs go around like a roundabout, like a whirligig.
Oh, that's brilliant, because you do have your favourite spots as well.
Yeah, but I just kept pressing the button, so I kept going round and round. I couldn't. I was so fascinated by it. It was absolutely wonderful.
I know technology nowadays is
Well,
wondrous,
it's any piece of
TK?
software, isn't it? But it just kept going round and round and round. I thought it was jolly good. Okay,
so we win something.
You won something. You won 40 chips. Very good.
I do.
You got quite a tough table, haven't you?
Yep.
Monkey Boy.
Yep, they're not idiots. So I've got to concentrate.
I was watching the other night and somebody was taking the Michael out of you because you always articulate all the names of the players, don't you?
No, they always do. And do you know what? I think it's important.
Is it because you're stupid or?
What do you mean, is it because I'm stupid?
Well, I'm asking. I don't know.
Do you think there's any possibility that I'm stupid?
Absolutely not. First words tonight.
Right answer.
First words tonight. Give me £10,000.
Do you know what? It's these guys play on the TV. Okay, you've got to give them a shout out. That's why they're there. They're playing in front of everyone. We can all see how they play. It's quite daunting for some of them, and I think we should give them all a shout
They
out.
want
Say
larging
hello.
up, do they? As we
I
say.
think they should be larged up, and I think that's fine. And all of you poker pros take the mick and do impersonations of me doing shout outs. But also, Castro hit the nail on the head, because when I first started and I didn't know anything about poker, I used to just call all the names out every now and then.
Because I'm a year older than you, I don't know these modern expressions, don't you? I name checks used to be done by Tony Blackburn.
Could they?
Remember Tony Blackburn, don't you?
From the radio?
From the radio, well, from the wireless when it started, actually. But... So
wireless.
You got a suited ace here. What do you do with this?
Well, I think I just threw it away.
Yeah, very wise. That's my weakness, suited aces.
Yeah. I prefer this ace-9 on the button. Ace-9's got great, but I could certainly go for a steal. Or limp in, depending on what I feel like. I mean, it's only 30, so I'm not bothered about really stealing it. But I might try and put in a bet. I get called and I haven't hit anything. And obviously, new Steve, Tiddy's Jack. But at the same time, do you know what? I was hoping, I wasn't bothered about a call. Ace-9 is not a terrible hand against two random hands in blinds.
What do you think if you play? You lose the hand. What do you think you play?
I don't think I did anything wrong.
Yeah, I think that's the point to make there. Is because a hand goes wrong, you don't win. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. If you make that play with that hand in that position every time, and they are able to get off the hand,
yeah,
that's fine. You're going to nick a lot of blinds doing that.
Yeah, and I remember you saying earlier about, this is interesting actually, king top pair. He put in 80, but top pair, my kicker's not great, so I thought, well, let's find out if you've got the king. So I'm not going to call, I'm going to raise him, something, and let's find out.
This is what we mentioned earlier, is finding where you are. And one would think, unless this is going to be a re-steal, that he's going to let go.
That's what I thought. Exactly if he had re-raised me, I would have put him on a king with a better kicker.
And the reason you have to re-raise there is that if you simply call, and then he bets again the next street, you don't know if you're losing the worst kicker. Yeah. So you had to re-raise. If you got re-raised, you let go.
Yeah.
That's if I may say so, that's playing like a proper player.
Hey. See, I'm thinking the right things.
You know, I'm only having fun.
That's a wonderful flop for me.
Well, it is if a queen doesn't come.
Yeah, if I don't want to see a queen, but I raised it quite a lot pre-flop because I always worry about jacks, and I really want to know where I am.
They're not easy hands to play, and you want to see a 10 high flop with jacks. The one thing you have to be careful of, I suppose two really, but sometimes you walk into an overpair to your jacks, and then you're in serious trouble.
This is why I was worried here, and I really didn't know what to do. I was thinking, okay, he's re-raised me. He may be on the draw. I'm not quite sure. I'll call and see where I am. Now, when the spade come out, because he had called with my raise pre-flop, so I thought it's quite. He could easily have that higher card or not. Now, because he then only checked when the spade came, I thought, right, I can either bet this, or he's going to bet me, and I'm going to have to put it down.
Yep.
So I bet it, and he ran away.
You played it spot on.
Yay. I've got some quite nice hands here. I've got a nice jack now.
But you wouldn't want to play this as a suited hand if you knew that there were 9 hearts dealt
Yeah, it's not very good for me, is it? So I just made it a standard 3 times the big blind raise. Now it's come, I've now got a gut shot. It's Jack, Queen, King, Ace. Obviously we can see Johan Harron's got the Queen here. I think I check it. I'm trying to give myself a free card. Johan checks it. Look at him, checking me, trying to get me to bet. But then he gave me the Ace. I mean, he could have been worried about the King. He knows that...
Well, he doesn't know where he is with the King either, does he?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't see the King
he has to let go.
So I put a bet in then, and then he went.
I wouldn't like to mess with Johan. Whenever I see him on a cash table, he's got plenty of chips.
Yeah, well, this is it with Johan. This is why you've got to be careful. When you see who you're up against, it's like, okay, you know, I'm not going to do anything ridiculous here because he could so easily be slow playing me. He could be playing funny. I may have said this before, but I fancy he plays bigger game, but he plays these for, for fun or whatever. Yeah. But the way he plays, I think he has a bigger game. So I'm quite happy, sitting pretty with 2,700, chip leader at the moment. But I've been getting quite jiggy because I've had the hand, so I need to be careful that I'm aware of the fact that I've been playing in a lot of hands. Do
you, at this stage, if you're playing a lot of hands, do you show some of them? Excuse me.
I do, yeah, sometimes. I didn't in this.
People,
But I sometimes do, yeah, just to show them that I do have the
wizened professionals sometimes say you should never show your hands, but like most things in poker, there's no such thing as never. Sometimes there's a time and sometimes there's not. If you've been playing a lot of hands early because you've got genuine hands, I think it does make sense to show them. Because otherwise you're going to get this image that you're loose and leery and you've got nothing. And when you don't want to call, when you've got jacks or 9s or something, you're going to get callers.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong to it. Nobody can say that's good advice or bad advice. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to be showing these hands from time to time.
Well, like I did, even sometimes, I mean, there's a hand you'll see a bit later, I have a pair of kings. And With this, it's different because you know it's going on the telly, so people are going to see. But I did put in the chat box, you know, kings, how annoying there's an ace there. So I can show them, look, I'm going to have to fold this hand, but don't be thinking that I was raising with nothing. So sometimes, you know, you do feel that you want to show them more.
I often, particularly if I've got someone sat next to me in a long competition and I raise on his blind, I like him to see that I'm not stealing.
Yeah.
Now, there's no, you know, there's as many reasons to say that's good play as there is bad play, but I just sometimes think it makes sense to show. Not always. Just, you know, people don't know where you are if you keep messing around. This is nasty. 2 pair against the nut flush.
Well, it's wonderful for Chelsea that there's 4 hearts on the board, though, because now he can be scared.
It gets him off, doesn't it? He can escape.
And now he's got a full house.
Wow,
Look at this.
Extraordinary? Isn't that extraordinary?
Wow, and Anjo's going to lose all his chips here. I can almost feel Chelsea's trying to work out how he can get the maximum amount of money out of Anjo. That's a nice bet, I think.
You see, when it's a ball pairs, you know, some people say, well, you've got to re-raise because I've got the nuts. We haven't got the nuts because there's a paired board, so someone could have a full house. So, you know, why don't you just call? Because you're only going to get called if you re-raise by a better hand.
Yeah.
Well, that was really unfortunate.
Yeah, for the nuts flush
there. That is the beauty of poker.
Does happen. And you know what? So many people send us emails saying, oh, the net's not the same because you see these ridiculous things happening that never happen in a live game. And, you know, what you have to remember is you're playing so many tens of times more hands on the net, far quicker than you are in a live game. That's why you're seeing all of the different scenarios more. Because in a live game, over an hour, you might only play 30 hands, whereas over an hour on the net, you could easily play 150 hands. 2 pair for Steve. 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I didn't quite get this straight.
So you've got yourself a nice stack. Blinds are only
yes.
10, 20, so you're pretty much sleeping now.
Yeah, I'm not going to bother with anything too mediocre. I don't need to get involved if it's a bit of a silly situation. I had a 5-6, didn't I? I would have flopped this straight.
Yes. How many times do we say that, though? Ah, if I'd have called. But you couldn't call, could you?
No. Right. 9, 10 of diamonds. We've got King, Queen out there. King, Queen might raise. Nope, just limps. I think I limped here, yeah.
Yeah, on the button, 9, 10 suited. Blinds are small. These are the time when you can see flops. Cheaply, suited connectors. Oh, you don't mind that flop, do you?
8, 9, 10 jack. I've got an up and down. And I've got a pair of 9s. I can't remember what happens here.
Well, I hope you don't hit your 10, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
Mind you, there's another 10 out.
Yeah, because he went all in, I folded. Yeah. I mean...
What did you have?
9, 10. So I had a pair of 9s and an up and down straight draw. But because he went all in, and it was a paired board, I thought,
we could fight on another day.
Yeah, that's it. If you feel you're not sure and you've only put 40 into the pot,
correct.
I think it's easy enough to put it down, isn't it?
What have I got invested in this pot? Do I want to risk my tournament when I don't know where I am? I've only got 40 in. Damn it, I'll get out of the way.
The blinds are small, plenty more hands yet to come, where I can be in the driving seat.
There's a school of thought that says you should be aggressive all the time, and there's a school of thought that says, look, let's be sensible and keep out the way of these fights. I always call it letting the children play. At this stage of a single table tournament, you can do nothing and go from 8th to 4th.
Yeah.
Just by letting the other people take each other out. So there's nothing wrong with keeping out of the way.
And
you get a big hand, fine, but...
I think because in the 1,000 chip tournaments it's slightly different, but I think in these 2,000 chip tournaments you've got so many more chips to play with, you can be a bit more selective. I can't remember what I did. Do you know what, this is my third 9-10. It hasn't got me anywhere so far. I limped anyway. Nothing. I think Morrison bets. No, doesn't he check? So what did I do? I think I checked. Yeah, checked. Could have bet. I could have made a bet. But I think Morrison bets here and I just say, you know what, you can have it.
Again, why get involved? You don't need to. You've got plenty of chips. There's plenty of time. Lines are 20-40.
So I've got a Jack Queen. I'm going to just limp here. I'm not going to bet. I mean, there's quite a lot of people to back behind me. So if I bet, you know, I don't have any information on them. They could easily re-raise me. And Jack Queen, I wouldn't be able to call a raise. So I think just to limp in and hope that it's not raised and get to see a flop. That's my thinking. So there I go.
We're going to have a busy time later on. We seem to have lots of emails tonight. And,
yeah, we do.
Some quite complicated ones.
Ooh, to test your knowledge, TK. Are you up for the challenge?
Well, I'm loving one that talks about ironside and heads-up play. I must make sure we read that one out later on. Wow.
From Skin Up.
From Skin Up.
So I haven't got any part of this flop at all, so I'm going to fold.
Well, our friend Johan's got a bit of it, hasn't he?
Just a bit. Chelsea's not going to get involved, I don't think, with bottom pair. He does! I suppose it's two pair, though. Pairs of threes, pair of tens. I have lost quite a lot of money with hands like that. And the other person does have the trip. I'm playing it tricky, trying to get some more money out of Chelsea.
They'll put a little bet in here.
240 into a 6.
Yeah, he's not going to get paid, though, is he?
Look, I've got the aces, and look,
Wow.
nobody else has anything.
Did you win or lose?
I won.
Well, if you keep winning little pots, small pots, that's all you need to do to win the tournament. There's nothing wrong with small pots. Little and often.
Do you know what, though? These guys know me, and they know that I'm not going to be raising under the gun with rubbish.
I don't think they do know you, because I've learned a lot of things about you tonight, but I know what you're saying.
I'm different in real life, aren't I?
Yeah, I bet you are, yeah. Unbelievably different.
A lady.
I never knew websites like that existed, I just didn't.
What? Let's have a look. Single now, I've got to get with the times. I haven't been single in about 9 years.
Well, I am, but I don't watch those. I never know what places existed. I read Great Western Steam Trains a lot. That's a lovely website. You don't get a lot,
Are you one of these people that has a train set in their loft and you go and sit up there and pretend to be the conductor?
And Penguin Monthly's a good one as well.
Are you with Saga?
What is Saga?
The old people holidays. The Whiteheads is they're known. You know, my dad said the other day he come through the post, it had Saga on the front. He was like, "No, I've got a letter from Saga. It can't be happening."
that must be it's not happened to me yet, but if it does, that's going to be the end. I'm going to jump out the window or something. What an awful thing to happen.
Oh yeah, you weren't pleased. My dad doesn't look 51 though.
61.
51.
51. That's old.
It's not that old. Bear in mind I'm 27.
Is that what you are?
Yeah. Do you mean is that all I am? Cheeky. Cheeky.
Well, the ace queen's hit here.
Yes, I'm over for a queen, but I don't think I'm going to get free
because
live.
otherwise he's going to give you a straight, but it's not going to happen, is it?
I don't think I'm going to get free card. Ooh, but I do. Look at that. I'm going to get free card. But it's not the one I was looking for, excuse me. But
Did Monkey Boy check that?
he checked it, yeah.
Wow.
So I got a free card.
Was he after something? Was he fishing?
I don't know. Maybe he's scared because I'm in the hand.
Well, it's a nice bet on the end, 80 into a 200 pot. That's a fishing bet.
And Phantom has the 8 and pays him off.
He must have had some feeling there, because it's a bit of a strange way to... once he called his card, he was looking for something.
I can't
Let's see how he
remember if
plays these queens then.
I tried to steal this or not. Hope not.
You might get looked up.
Oh no, I just limped in. Do you know why I limped in there as well? Because it's about my 5th 9-10 I've had pre-flop,
right,
and I haven't
yeah.
got anything with them. So I'm a little bit wary. And put them straight down to the raise. Pair of 6s from Johan. New Steve with the ace 9 makes a raise. I can see you ain't coming over the top here. No, just calls. Now what does he do? 1 overcard. Oh, and Steve's got his ace.
Very tricky to play.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to say, look, you know, I'm going to let this one go.
And look, it's only a 40 as well. Well done, Johan.
Horrible hand to have to play. But you have to play them because if you catch a set, then you're going to get big paid.
Yeah.
That's when you get
You have
into
to think of your implied odds,
winning.
don't you?
Yeah, you get into tournament winning situations if you catch one set in a tournament because you're going to get paid big time.
Unless
So you
there's a
live with
flush
these little
out there.
pairs and just hope you catch them.
Or a straight. My chips got done by a rivered straight the other day, and he was calling me. He was calling. I'd gone all in the end, and he called me, and he really wasn't getting odds to call for his straight at all, and then he got it.
Do you live in Essex?
Yep.
I thought you did.
Braintree.
Yes. I suspected you was from Essex.
Why? I haven't got an Essex accent. I've spent years getting rid of it. We've got lots of emails.
Well,
So
I did hear that you could take Essex out of the girl, but
I think you got that a bit wrong,
you
haven't you,
can't
TK?
take the girl out of Essex.
It's the other way around.
Well, it was whispered to me by the gallery who were trying to stir
I know.
things, that's why.
They're cheeky, that's why.
What was that word you taught me tonight? Tisha?
Tushy.
Tushy. Tushy.
That's your bum.
I've never heard
You
of
look, shake your tushy.
So 7 left.
Yep, we've lost one. Blinds are at 40-80.
Nobody's dominated. Everybody's sort of sitting nice and comfortable, feeling each other out.
Yeah, my chips are slowly winding down where I'm not really getting any hands, but I'm not worried at all at the moment.
So all these people that were chatting to you online, they
Yeah.
weren't in this comp. They were
No,
just,
they just watch it, yeah.
They were just lurking, as it were. They came
Yeah,
along,
because
they come
there's a
along to
few-
say hi. It's
they do.
your little fan club.
They're lovely. This, I knew he had the ace. You know what? I put him on a rag ace here.
You put both of them on rag ace. So two
No,
rag aces.
well, the monkey boy doesn't come in the
Why does the
hand.
ace come?
Chelsea raises and I re-raised.
Absolutely correctly.
I think anyway. Yeah, I did. So I actually put him on something like ace jack or ace 10 because I made a relatively big re-raise and he's called, which I think is not necessarily great play with ace 7.
Well, again, I say I don't criticise people because I only played to a certain level. These people may play better, and we all play the game different. But I can't call that raise with ace 7. I really can't.
So I put in the bet. I
Having
thought,
said
do you know
that-
what? I put him on a rag, but I'm going to have to bet, and he re-raised.
Yeah.
And I thought he's got the ace.
Yeah,
I've got to
he
go.
takes it. But a really extraordinary play with ace 7.
Yeah, I wasn't happy.
And again, you've got this image. You said you had this image of being tight.
Yeah.
And you put a big raise in there, a big re-raise in, and got looked up. Very odd. But
Yeah,
you know, everybody
so-
plays it different, and you know what? The truth is, when you've got kings, you want someone with ace 7 against you
Yeah,
because
that's
you're a
true.
big favourite. So sometimes it goes.
It was
wrong.
unfortunate to see the ace, so I lost quite a lot of money there with the kings. I lost about 600 chips.
Yeah.
More than that, 800 chips.
Well, Chelsea now has ace king on a king high, so going nicely for Chelsea.
But I'm not going to worry. I've got time
What are you
yet.
going to do with his raggy ace?
I'm just going to fold it.
Good stuff.
I'm not a raggy ace player in these tournaments.
No,
I don't
you're
even limp in them because you know what's going to happen? I'm going to hit my ace and what? What am I going to do? I'm going to hit my ace. I'm going to have no idea if I'm ahead or not. It's going to cost me money to find out. A lot of the time I'm actually going to be beat and I'd just rather not even give myself the hassle.
You're absolutely right. You're more of a. You strike me more as a big pair girl.
Yeah. I wish.
Yeah, will you?
You're coming out with him tonight, aren't you? He's on form, ladies and gents. So I'm a little bit sore from the Kings, but I'm not going to let it faze me. Do you know what I've learned from Casper about positive thinking?
Well, I don't know about positive. But positive thing is one thing. Another thing is that the hand that's played is finished.
And
You know,
I
yes-
didn't make any big mistakes.
That's right. Yesterday it rained, but there's no point complaining about it now. It's all over and done with. And you know, your hand went wrong. Too bad. Forget all about it. Just move on. You've still got plenty of chips. It's disappointing, but you know that's life.
It happens. So only 80 here for Monkey Boy. He will be needing a 10 or an ace.
Chelsea didn't like that river card, that turn card, because his two pairs have disappeared in effect. He had two pairs on the flop, kings and fours. So when the queen paired, he's only got kings and queens now. I say only, but his original hand is gone. He's been counterfeited.
I should have raised here. I would have taken it.
Yeah, but you don't know that, do you?
No.
If you raise with ace 10 and someone comes over the top, what do you do then?
Yeah.
You've got to get out of the way, haven't you?
Got to. Because it could very really easily be that ace jack or ace queen. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with this. Top pair, top kicker.
Yep.
I'm up against the big blind.
Let's see. You're going to see where you are here, I guess.
Well, he bets, yeah, and I've got to find out if he's actually got anything. So I'm not going to call. I'm going to raise. Don't like not knowing where I am. And of course, Phantom. What's he got? Four. He's got 4, 6, 7. He's got nothing. He can't call.
I have to say, I really like your play. You do the correct thing each time in these situations, which is even if someone bets into you, you try and find out, if you think you're winning, find out where you are. You burn chips away if you just call.
Yeah.
Because you haven't found out anything, and then on the next street, the person bets again. Now you have to call again or let the thing go.
And can I say as well that
No.
it really takes, thanks, okay, all right. No, it really takes time to learn that. And to all of you learners out there, those of you that have only been playing a couple of months, when you start to learn, as I did a year ago, you hardly ever raise unless you've got a really good hand. And then when someone bets at you, you generally run away because you're scared. Now, it's awful when you have to re-raise. It's when you're learning, it's awful having to re-raise. It's awful raising when you're not sure where you are. Do you know what? I think you should sit down and do what I do and sit down. Oh, this is going to be a big one.
This is going to be unpleasant.
And these little chips here, I think. Let's just see how it's played out. Top pair, 10, 8, 4, not really any straights, not really any flushes. He's got a pair of aces with a queen. He's going to play this.
Milking lovely. Oh,
And it's gone all in.
Goodness.
And he gets called, and poor old Steve goes out.
I feel sympathy for him, but you know there is a good lesson there. At the end of the day, he's got one pair, and all is on it. And you know when somebody's making some very suspicious betting like that, tread with caution, because somebody's got a set they're not going to be letting go. They're going to be playing it cagey. So ace king or ace queen, you catch your ace or king. Yeah, bet out, play it strong. So you should, but don't put your own tournament on it because it's one pair. That's all it is. Someone with two pairs got you turned over. So what's the betting pattern? Very carefully. Ask yourself, why are they betting? Why are they calling? What could they possibly have?
And just quickly back to that point as well, what I was recommended to do, I think it was by Dr. Tom, or it might have been James, and I was recommended to sit down, because I was still very scared of raising and re-raising, and I hardly ever re-raised. And he said to me, look, sit down in a tournament, put your $10 in, and just forget about it. You don't play to win, play for the experience. And tell yourself, I'm not going to call once in this game. He
That's
goes,
a great piece of advice. Dr. Tom was that?
Or James, I can't remember. But at the time, I thought, right, I think it might have been Dr. Tom actually, and I thought, right, okay, he says, don't call once. You're only allowed to raise or fold. So I did, and he goes, it doesn't matter whether you win, it doesn't matter if you lose, it doesn't matter if you were stupid, just do it. So I did it, and I sat down, and I learned so much from that game.
That is great, a great piece of practice. I've done the same thing.
Brilliant,
myself.
it really was.
One can't help sometimes get into this habit of calling,
Yeah.
and it's wrong. And if you go into a comp, I played a comp like it once, where I decreed that no matter what happened, I would never limp. I would pass or raise. It's surprising the difference it makes.
So just please try it if you've just started that, because it worked wonders on me. Do you know what? It changed my game. At that point, after that game, it changed the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
It truly changed my game for the better. And so please give that a go. Aces against ace high. Well, queens with an ace. Johan playing tricky again, look at him. Oh, and he's got 350 smackers and he just calls. Now, Phantom hasn't hit anything here, he still only has an ace high. Well, with his queens, sorry. So
It's not a perfect flop races, is it?
it is. Unless your opponent's got a queen. So Phantom's going to have to put this down now. To Johan just putting in the amount in front of Phantom. Phantom, you can't call, can you? We've got nothing. All he needs is a 3 and you're beaten. And he puts it down. Well done, Phantom. King Jack for Johan. Puts it down to the raise from the... no, sorry, it's a limp from Monkey Boy with Queen 10. The Phantom's checked on the big blind. And we'll probably check here, I think. And Monkey Boy may bet. Yep. And then Phantom probably throw it away.
So the blinds are just starting to bite a little bit now, aren't they?
They are. This is the turning point, isn't it? 81.60.
You're six-handed. It's 81.60. If you make up your small blind, it's costing you 3.20 a round. And there's 6 players left, so it's costing you 60 for every single hand played, whether you play it or not. Every single time that button moves, another 60 chips go in. 1 round costs you 3.20. So it's just less than 60 it's actually costing you, but it soon adds up. So now we get short-handed and the blinds start again. This is when gear changes start. This is when we have to start doing things. Because we can't sit forever now. So at some stage, presumably, you're going to start ducking and diving and dancing.
Because those blinds are going to eat.
Yep.
Eat away at you. Jack 6 isn't the time to do it, though, I'm thinking.
You've got to start kicking some tushti. What's it called?
Tushy.
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 Kicking some tushy. Respect, man. Sister.
Yo, bro. So Johan takes a little walk there.
Could you be my bitch?
Could I? Or would I? It's a big difference here,
Oh,
TK. 5's Monkey Boy. He's just limping in, surprisingly. He's got the best hand. He's going to be a little bit wary of that flop, though.
Well, what flop is he going to like?
None.
You know,
2, 3 and a 4.
Limp. Perhaps he feels that raising he won't get past Johan or Morris. And as it happens, he probably wouldn't have got past Johan with the pocket 4s. But I do think it's worth a steal there, an attempted steal. You're getting some rubbish here, aren't you? Yeah,
I haven't got anything, and then blinds are coming around. But I'm still thinking to myself, do you know what? I'm not going to move with nothing. I can go through 1 more blinds before I'm desperate. So I won't make any rash decisions just yet. Morrison will put in a bet here. And Phantom has to call. So Phantom's looking for an opportunity to stick them all in and double through. Raise from Johan. I'm not going to get jiggy with Johan with Queen 9. I'm going to let him have it. Good job in Orcs, I would have been big underdog. Ten King. Yeah, I wanted to try and steal Monkey Boy's big blind there, but Chelsea beat me to it, and Phantom went all in. So I couldn't do anything. I was quite happy to put it down then.
There's a sort of mini crisis developing here, isn't there? The field's getting away from you a little bit.
Yep, a little bit. I'm now. I don't really have any. There's not much raising left in me now, so I'm thinking if I get a hand, I'm going to be pushing.
Well, you've got 2 lunges really, haven't you? You've got the blinds are 81.60, so a pot raise is about 500. You've got 1100, so you're almost at the stage where you could have 1 go and let go, almost. But after this blind, no, you can't anymore. So your next move, unless you've got a monster, might as well be chuck it all in, because if they come back at you, you're not letting go.
Yeah, because if they re-raise, you can't get away from it, can you?
But this is a stage when you get a monster where you have to defy, in my opinion, conventional wisdom. Because if you get a really big hand, this is when maybe you should limp. This is one of those rare occasions where you say, wait a minute, if I limp here, I might get real value. I might get trebled up.
So Phantom doubles through. So he's quite happy. 3,000 now, and he was on 700 a minute ago, so it shows how it can change.
Yeah,
And you're nearly Billy Lowstack, aren't you?
Yes, and I've got nothing, a 3 and a 5, I'm not playing with that. I managed to steal with the ace-5, so I'm thinking if it comes around again, it's going to be difficult to steal again from Johan, because I don't know if he's going to let me do it twice.
You think 2005 Chelsea is a football reference?
I think it probably is.
Might have been the year they was born. Michelle's just
sure.
working out how old that would make that person.
How old he would be. I don't quite think he'd be playing on here.
Might be a shoe.
Monkey boy puts it down. And he had half his stack in.
Wow.
I think the 8s I probably would have just pushed, even though I would have been an underdog. Oh, I've got 9-10 on the big blind. I
To
can't
be fair to Monkey Boy, that's a horrible seat.
Awful, yeah.
With young Hiram behind, I wouldn't want to be sat there. I'd want someone like you behind me.
Yeah, of course. We'll have to play one day. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, not heads up, please.
So I was so happy for that 10-10.
I go all over the world and Europe playing poker, and all sorts of people challenging me to heads up. And I've never won one yet, you know. I lose to everybody, everywhere.
So Yarrow makes it 800, Chelsea makes it ace-king, and actually I didn't like the call from Chelsea, because now I'm thinking, great, you know, Johan's raised it, Chelsea has to have a good can to have called, he could easily have a higher pocket pair, but you know what, I'm not going to get another opportunity, so I'm going to have
This
to
is
push.
as good as it gets. They're
Yeah.
only 4 hands better than yours.
Yeah, so
in
I
the
have
whole
to push.
universe, and Chelsea could have anything. You're running short.
I thought I'd gone all in,
You
but
didn't
I
move the
had
slider bar all the
70.
way across, did you? I doubt they're going to be left behind.
So there's the last
They will all
70
go in,
goes
and you just got to hope now that this is a simple race. What
But
they
do you know
call
what,
a
I was
race.
pleased to see the ace-king, because I
You
was
want to hit
worried
your 10
about
now.
queens or
Don't
something.
hit your 10. That's what's known as a race when you have a pair versus ace-king. And it's called a race because it's roughly even money, and it's whose ever hand holds up.
Yep, so I was extremely happy with
You
that.
have to win a few races to win a tournament, I have to tell you.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. But I'm a bit happier now. Well, the blinds have just gone up to 320. So it's starting to become very tricky. Lots of all-ins going on, I'm feeling.
Monkey was very happy with that.
Yep, I'm not. So when someone's all in, I want them to go. Chelsea will be all in.
Yeah, you get out the way, one assumes.
Uh-huh.
You get your pushty out of line.
Tushy.
Tushy. How do you,
It's a tushy.
How do you spell
Let me
it?
spell it. It's T-O-O-S-H-Y.
yeah,
Tushy.
a tushy.
Tushy. People spell it differently, but that's how Robin spelt it. So you can
I don't
have
think that's
Robin's.
such a word. I think you made it up.
There's Phantom gets a full house, gets quads. He's got quads people at home.
How
This is
jolly
amazing.
People at home.
Look, don't see that every day.
No, that's true.
Right, I've got a pair of 4s, so I just raised it. I didn't go all in because I don't think I need to, and that, you know, I'm only going to get. If I go all in, I'm going at this stage, and I don't need to. I'm going to get called by somebody with a pair of 10s or a pair of kings. This way, I can afford to make a raise and get away from it. And of course, Phantom goes all in here, doesn't he? So I fold, so I could get away from it. If he hadn't had anything, he would have had to have folded. That's when I went, Phantom, that's when I said I had to go at Phantom, and you remember when I said
Yep.
he's raised me.
Oh, I see.
And I thought, well, no, do you know what, I can afford to put it down at the moment.
You can. That was going to cost you all your chips on
All
a
your
pair of
chips,
4s. And again,
yeah.
you were reacting. It would mean reacting to someone else's race. I like to dictate where I get my chips in. I like to be getting the chips in first
Yeah.
and deciding and make my own decision. Now, if somebody has put a decision on me, I don't want them to put a decision on me. You know, I'm one of those people that says, no, I want to do it my way. I want to put my chips in first with my hand when I'm ready. So if he wants to do it, I'm going to get out of the way.
Yeah.
But it helps to be born awkward.
It'd be bored awkward. Slightly to the left. Yeah, definitely. At this stage of the tournament, you want to be the one putting all your chips in.
Be the
Because you want to
aggressor.
be the one
Yep.
being the aggressor, and you want to have the fold equity. You want to push your opponents off. You don't want to be calling.
Don't forget, there's a very simple piece of logic here. Is that if you raise or first to raise, you can win without seeing any cards. You can win without seeing a flop. There's no better way of winning because you can't be outdrawn. And that's the best way of winning. So being the aggressor with any hand is better than being the caller, always.
And the other thing that I was taught as well is be aware of who you're up against. You know, if you're up against the chip leader, be aware you're up against the chip leader. This is the one person that can take you out of the tournament.
Yeah, choose who you play against. I mean, you get a situation quite often when you're deep stack, and then when you want to look around the table, you're going to be in a lot of hands because you can kill a lot of people. But the one person you shouldn't be mixing up with is the other deep stack.
Yeah.
And that just makes no sense at all.
And
you know, if he re-raises you, if he sets you all in and you've got ace king and you're both the joint leaders, what are you going to do with your ace king? I mean, I'm gonna muck it in a flash.
Yeah,
I don't want to take this guy on.
I don't want to get jiggy with the deep stack if I'm deep stack.
But then it's hypothetical because I've never been chip leader, so I'm a grinder. I'm a bottom feeder. I grind along the bottom.
So there's 5 of us in, and the blinds are 163.20. So you know, usually at this point there's more people gone.
That's took a while, hasn't it?
So it has taken a while to get rid of people. Yeah, I mean it is a bigger stack starter. It's 2,000 instead of 1,000. So there is more play there.
I have to say, I think this is the one I played last week with 2,000 chips.
Yeah.
And it's a very playable structure. Oh, you've got a nice pair here.
Yep. But again, it's going to be me against Phantom.
It's going to be awkward because Phantom's got a pair as well.
I can't remember what I did. Yeah, it was a difficult one for me, this one, because I actually thought he had nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I put him on a steal.
Yeah.
Because he was the big stack, and that's why I went all in. Because usually I wouldn't have. Now, as it turns out, I did actually have something.
I like your pair.
And I knew he'd only call me, because this is nearly all his stack, I knew he'd only call me with a really high pair, and I thought if he had that really high pair, he probably would have wanted me to come along with him to the flop. So I actually put him on a steal.
Who taught you to play? Or are you self-taught?
No, when I started on Poker Night Live a year ago, I never played the game before. Nick Wellthall had an afternoon with me to teach me the basics. And then I spent most of my shifts in my first 6 months were with Dr. Tom, which is where my tight aggressive play comes from, I think, because it's very similar to the way Dr. Tom plays.
It would sound patronising or condescending to say you play very well, but...
Oh, thank you. No,
Damn it,
do you know what, though?
You do. You've got a very solid game. Good fundamentals.
Beat the Presenter has done me the world of good. The world of good. Being able to watch my play and having the expert to my left saying, do you know what, this is what you should be doing here, why did you do that? And it's taught me so much, this Beat the Presenter. You know, guys out there, you know, the people that play on the TV will know this when they have, you know, the guys commentating on their play. You learn so much. I've learned so much from Beat the Presenter. That's why I love playing it.
We're not all that long from the break. I hope when we come back from the break you're going to join us. We've got a tremendous amount left to do yet. We've got to see the end of this, which looks like it's going to take a while.
I think it starts happening quickly now, the blinds are large actually, because I remember I'd finished before the break. Hadn't I?
So, well, whatever, we've still got the MTT to finish.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole bundle of emails to read. So,
so we'll attack these.
The last hour will be plenty to see, plenty to hear. And I hope we'll have some fun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the hell not?
Have you got a cat?
No, I'm a doggy person. I have
Doggy
2 dogs.
person. What sort of dogs?
My dog is a Cocker Spaniel, who's
wonderful.
adorable, Toby.
Yeah.
And my sister has a dog that's living with us at the moment because she's pregnant and doesn't want the dog at home anymore. She's a Schnauzer.
Very nice.
And they're best
Cocker
friends.
Spaniels.
Cocker Spaniel, we've always had them. My old Cocker Spaniel, Indiana, we got him when I was only 7.
Do you take it for walks?
Every single day, if I can. If not, my mum or dad will. But you know what? Because I work in the evenings and my other work, I'm generally away over a weekend. I when I'm working on Poker Night Live, when I get up, I would get up, do my thing, and then I'll take Toby for a walk. And I live in a little village, and all along the back of me is an old train track, and it stretches for about 15 miles, and it's the most beautiful.
Wonderful.
And you have all different fields either side. And actually, when I took Toby this morning, it's so amazing. It's such a beautiful walk. And I took him this morning, and he made a little friend. It was a chocolate-coloured Labrador. And I ended up, it was a lady and her mother were walking it, so I ended up walking with them all the way down, right the way down for about a mile, and the two dogs running off ahead, having the world
Well, that's
world
fine.
of
I've
a
got a
laugh.
Cocker Spaniel story, but I think we better. We've got down to three-handed here, so presumably
This is going to be over quite quickly now. Yes, I'm in the money.
326.40. There were 8 runners, 2,000 chips each, 16,000 chips. The average is 5,000, so that's 8 big blinds. So
Well, Phantom's got me here with
Just
his
about
12,000. So I need to. I've gone all in with my threes.
there's nothing wrong with that.
It's,
He probably calls with any hand, I would think.
He didn't though. He
you
folded.
At some stage, you know, I like to keep the pot small when I've got a lot of chips and heads up, but it doesn't seem to help me. But the
Do you know,
fact
I
is, at
pushed
some
again,
stage, you've
yeah.
got to double up.
Well, this is why I pushed with the Jack
So
9.
you're going to
'cause it's-
gamble.
Do you know? I
Yeah.
thought I will, and I thought he probably will call me, but he
Yeah,
may
it's-
have nothing.
He's done nothing wrong, but he's got a big hand.
He's got a much better
King,
hand than
queen,
me.
heads up.
And he takes it, but I come
Wow.
second.
Great play, great play. I don't think that. I don't think you put a foot. Smack your tushy.
Do your tushy
Your
down.
tushy. I don't think you've put a foot wrong. What did you just do? I missed that. I wasn't
This is
watching.
my
You are. Can you do another one? I don't
was
think
a
you
little
put a
bit
foot wrong in that
competitive.
MTT.
Oh,
in that SET.
excellent.
You know, I'm no great judge of these things, but you're solid. You made the right plays at the right time. You put the hands down when you had to. Fantastic. You can play exactly the same and go out early or win it.
Yeah.
As it
Well, I went out
happens.
7th when I played with Casper.
Yeah, the
other
game
day.
you've got suggests to me that unless you have a real big confrontation, a kings versus aces job or an ace-king versus queens job, you're always going to go fairly deep in these. And when you get to the last 2 or 3, it's, to be honest with you, there's a great amount of luck in it, particularly with
Yeah.
these structures. So that means you've now played, if I'm not mistaken, 18, beat the presenters, and cashed in 9.
No, it's more now. It's 19. I've cashed in 10.
Wow, that
and
is
I've out
fabulous.
cashed in 9.
That is fabulous.
So yeah, so I've actually started playing in these tournaments at home more because I've got a better thing here than I have that when I play at home. Because
Well-
people, and do you know why it is? It's because people here, because people play better. That's why I do better, I think. Because at home, the sites I play on, it's so many people that don't play very well. And at the stage I'm at, I still find it difficult to play people that don't play very well. I actually play better against people that play better. This sounds weird, but it's kind of...
There's a good story here because Michelle said she's been playing a year. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just over a year. And if you can cash in half or more than half of every single table tournament you play, then you're making a profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must be because
I'm making a profit at home at the
you
moment,
get your money back plus a bit for third, and you get a bit more for second and nice for first. So you must be making a profit, and you know it beats working, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you know, you're self-taught. You had a session with a pro that's took one afternoon and picked up a few basics. You've took them on board. It just shows it can be done for people that haven't been playing very long. Here's someone that can actually make a profit playing poker at a reasonable level. And I think Michelle's game is such that you could take it up several levels.
My problem is at home, I think, as well, especially in my cash games, is my bankroll. I'm doing well, and I'm generally, in the beginning, when I sit down at a cash game, I generally come out better off than I do worse off. Obviously, sometimes you'll lose your whole stack to an unfortunate bad beat. But my problem is, because I only play in 50-cent, 25-cent tables, even though my stack's going up, it's going up very slowly. So it's only ever going up by a few pounds, and a few pounds you think is nothing, but at the level you're at,
Yeah,
so
but
I'm still waiting
the
to be
thing
able
is,
to go
by
up to the
going
next
up a couple of
level.
levels, when you say it's only going up very small, it is going up. You go up a couple of levels, many people have done this, and then you take a big beat. You know, you lose the lot in one night.
Yeah.
And so you play a mixture of cash and sit and goes, is that right?
Yeah, I tend to play more sit and goes than cash.
How's your bankroll on sit and goes?
Sit and goes, don't know the exact odds, but I think I would say I was about even.
Okay, you can make a
Because I
living.
have
People
made,
can make
I have
a living
made
at
money
sit and
out of
goes.
it. Yeah.
You know, after a while, you know, some people say it's a bit of a grind, but you know, it still beats working. And if you have a solid game, you can sit there day after day, play 20 sit and goes a day. You have to understand that variance will mean that your profit and loss will go up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
Well, my last
it's
20
a way of doing it.
tournaments. My last 20 tournaments I played, I got in the money 9 times.
That's pretty good.
So it's only just under
So you're not
halfway.
losing anything.
No.
There you go.
But,
Amazing stuff.
yeah, well, thank you, Tikay. It always makes me happy when the expert says I'm doing well. But we are heading off to a break now. We've got lots of emails here to do, so we will do them. We will tack them when we come back. So please don't go anywhere. And we also have that final table when we return as well. Tikay's going to powder his nose, so we'll see you after the break. Good morning and welcome back to Poker Night Live with Michelle Orpe and Tikay. Hello.
Been busy during the break, have we?
Yes, been very busy.
What have we been doing?
Not much. What have you been doing?
I've been watching you on Young, Free and Single.
It's not Young, Free and Single.
It's something like that.
No.
Well, I don't like him. I don't like... Oh, he's hunky.
This isn't what I'm doing. Although, yesterday, when I worked, who was I with? Casper. On Monday. No, I had Cam Gigandet. I'll get him up for you to look at. He's from the OC. He's Vault Check and he's beautiful. I had him on my screen the whole time.
Who?
His name's Cam Gigandet.
From what?
The OC. Surely you must watch it. No? Not into it? Okay. Right. We're going to read some emails now. I'll get the pictures up for you. This is from Cy Todd. Evening to you, Cy. He says, evening, guys. I've been playing small buy-in single table tournaments at uni for about 6 months now and have steadily built up my bankroll from £1, which I found, well, he is a student, to be fair, to just under £50. And whilst I infinitely enjoy playing live tournaments, I'm starting to realise that they are a lot of hard work for not much payoff, especially in the £5 buy-in games I play. I am tempted to try my hand at online cash games, but I am worried to a certain extent by time limits rushing my play. I played in an online free roll earlier and I found it really hard to work out anything about my opponents, let alone think about plays I could make myself. Have you got any tips for playing online and how to put people on hands quickly and effectively before the time limit runs out? Is there anything I should be doing differently online than I would live? Thanks for all the help and the show. Poker Night Live is solely to thank for making me money at the Kent Uni Society tables. Well, I'm very glad of being of service. Well, that's definitely a question for you, Tikay.
Well, number one, playing tournaments is not the easiest thing in the world to make money at. If you can make money at tournaments, you're a pretty good player. Most people that make money at poker make it at cash, so that's number one lesson. If you're looking to make consistent profits, tournaments is not the way, cash is better. The second part of your question is, essentially you say you need more time and how can you put people on hands. Totally different online to live, totally. You don't have many clues. The clues you have are how long it takes people to act and their bet sizes. You haven't got much else other than watching patterns. If you watch the table very carefully and watch the way people raise and when they raise and whenever they do have to show a hand, what sort of hands they got, that's the only information you got. You can have player notes on most sites, so you can get an idea whether people are playing with rubbish, they're loose, aggressive, tight, weak, passive or whatever. Take advantage of these player notes and pay attention. What many of us do when we're playing online is we surf around at the same time and read our forums and do stuff on emails. You know, that's not the way to do it. You've got to be concentrating because there aren't that many clues online. But you have got to learn to act faster because there's only so much time. But everybody's at the same disadvantage there because they all have the same amount of time. So you can do your thinking before it gets to you. If nobody raises, this is what I'm going to do. If somebody raises, this is what I'm going to do. You can think about that before it gets to you. So you don't actually have 15 or 20 seconds. You probably have best part of a minute sometimes. But there are only so many tells online and you've got to utilise them. But you know, to find a quid and turn it into 50, whatever you're doing,
keep doing it.
Yeah, do some more of the same.
50 to 1 money back, that's not bad. And we've got an email from Gary who says, hi there, I bet when Michelle hits the money in her tourneys, it's when she types less. She always seems to be typing and not concentrating enough. You sound like James. I agree with Casper, so it was Casper, not Mark, and Mark, please don't have another go at me because I've misquoted you loads this week. But he says, I agree with Casper that the average chip stack doesn't matter. Chip stacks to blinds are far more important.
Chip stacks to blinds is important. And if I didn't say that earlier, I apologise. It is important, but average stack is also important, in my opinion. But there's no doubt in that chip stacks to blinds is important.
Email from Snowblind, who was playing earlier actually. He said, hi Bear, to the lovely night nurse and TK. I was playing live last Friday in a £20 freeze out up in Newcastle, and we'll be going out again this week. I found a lovely way to play live. I just acted at the clown at the table, non-stop talking and joking around, unless of course there was a serious hand playing and I wasn't in it. Anyway, I can safely say that it seemed to work. I lost a few chips with raggy hands at the start of the multi-table to make people think I didn't really know what I was doing and only out for a bit of fun. It's a very, very tricky play. When, of course, I was out to win. Funniest part of my evening was when a guy asked about my shades and asked if I was ever going to wear them. I replied that I only wear them when I have a good hand, but just for you, I'll wear them for this next hand. Wouldn't you know it, I got king, and raised. I then got re-raised by the same guy. I believe he thought I was mucking around because I'd just put my shades on. I called and put him out there, put him out of the multi-table tournament, and it was great fun. What do you think, TK, of playing the fool, of just genuinely never shutting up at the poker table? Snowblind, you sound wonderful, and a little bit like Nick Welthall, because I've played with Nick, and Nick doesn't shut up the whole tournament either and plays the crown, and it works brilliantly for him. I think that's excellent. What do you think?
Well, you know, poker's an extension of life. It just is, and there's nothing wrong with playing the fool. There's nothing wrong with talking a lot. If you're comfortable with talking a lot, talk a lot. Why not? If you're at a live tournament, you know, I'm in the bit of banter. I'm there to have a good evening. Some people sit there and don't say a word. There's nothing wrong with that either. It's really whatever your bag. But there's nothing wrong with talking a lot. There's nothing wrong with having banter. The main thing is, remember, you've still got to concentrate. And if you can concentrate and have banter, that's perfect. The important thing is not to lose your concentration.
Yeah. Just quickly before we go to our MTT, we've had an email from Jaguar who says, guys, we've just played the Craps and Dogs multi-table tournament. Sorry, did I say craps? I meant cats. Sorry about that, cats. Guys, we've just played the Cats vs Dogs multi-table tournament. As expected, the mutts were trounced and the cats are victorious. Any chance of you mentioning this on TV, as all 41 players were Poker Night Live regulars?
No.
By the way, Nursey, you joined the wrong side, I'm afraid. Cats for all. Well, actually, I think it's 1-1, is it not? And let's not forget that I wasn't playing tonight. As you saw from earlier experience, if I was playing, I probably would have won.
I don't know what that's about, but anyway.
All our regulars who play on the TV tables, that go on the forums, have got into two teams, the Cats and the Dogs. So they asked the Poker Night Live presenters to join.
I never knew
so
that.
I joined.
I'm a regular on the forum, and
it's huge on the forum.
But
there's a whole thread.
I've never seen that. Well, you know, there's a lot of threads on there. But
well, I've joined.
You'd be a
I've joined the dogs.
A mutt.
Yes.
I'd be a cat.
Well, see, it's because I've got dogs.
Well, I got cats or cat.
So there you go. And we're better than the cats. I mean, come on, other than Nash. Nash, you should be a dog. Right, so we've got some more emails, but we'll do them as the night goes on. Let's head over to our multi-table tournament because it's the final table.
Yes, they have at last got down to 4 players. I don't exactly know how much they're playing for, but it doesn't really matter because it's winning that matters. If it wasn't a freeze out, then the prize money is $740. It may have actually been a single rebound, but if it's a freeze out, it's $740, which means the first place will be worth, I don't know, 270, 271, 272 bucks, something like that, off the top of my head. And fourth place, which is the best we can see here, will be 70 bucks. So it'll be 70, 90, 150, 270, something like that. Tidy money for 10 bucks. And our last 4 are Hig 1, Pascali Jack, is that? Knight Simon and Paul 8-Ball. Paul 8-Ball always seems to be around in these things.
Yeah, at the end, he must do something, right?
Yeah, I'm always around at the beginning.
See, you know, people that say poker's all about luck, you just got to watch these tournaments because, you know, the same people get up there a lot,
Yep.
you know, to the final table, and they can't be getting lucky every time.
And a little story, just while this is finished off, we said we'd come back to it, and this is really some encouragement. I said to you that a gentleman had tapped me on the shoulder in Paris last week.
Is that...
And said that how much he enjoyed the show, and his name was Tom Sherratt. I think he plays online as Akakash. I shall come back to his name shortly. However, he'd won he'd played a 1500 runner free roll, won a seat at a WPT in Paris, sat on with all the top players in the world, including Phil Hellmuth, Surinder Sanar, Dave Colclough, Joe Beavers, Ram Vaswani. Sat with a lot of them, got through to day 2. So what a thrill that must have been. That must have been the poker experience of his life. Got a little unlucky on day 2. And we introduced him to a lot of big players. We showed him the cash game in Paris, where several people had more than 100,000 euros on the table. And so Tom had a great time. And the moral of the story is, you know, poker can make you realise dreams. He's gone in, he only plays small games. He's gone in a free roll. He's won the thing. He's ended up with the world's best players. How lovely is that? So Tom, thank you for your email tonight. Absolutely delighted for you, fella.
Well done, Tom. I need to do something and get into the World Series. In fact, you've just won some money. That 10 grand you were going to give me, I could use it to enter the World
I don't recall
Poker
saying I was going to give it to you. You asked for it.
I think that you should
And
sponsor me to go in the World Series of Poker.
It's not a wise thing to ask a gentleman in my position for money.
Yeah, but you could sponsor me. And then if I win, you'll make money.
But you need to think about this. It's not a sensible thing you're asking. We don't do free lunches.
Right, well, we'll put me in your will then.
Oh, well, when I'm gone you want it. Very nice too.
Oh, Paul 8 ball has an ace king. He's going to be raising it up.
I ought to do a will, really, wouldn't I?
Yeah. I don't really have anything.
Well, you're like me. We have our bodies, don't we?
We do, yes.
Which have a value.
They do.
Up to a point.
So he's just gone all in, no mucking around.
Yep.
Which is good, because Knight Simon's put in that 3,000 raise. Well, 2,400 raise. Takes it down.
Still the four-handed.
Oh, and now gets tens.
Do you ever indulge when you're online? Do you ever do speech play?
Well, I'm not sure. Were you allowed online?
You're allowed. You know, it's a question of whether you think it's right or
Oh,
wrong.
did you not hear the story of me and Dr. Tom?
Nope.
I've got to tell you then. We went round to Casper's house and played this was about 6 months ago, and played a game of poker.
Yep.
And it was me and Dr. Tom in a hand in a tournament.
Dr. Tom and I.
Dr. Tom and I, sorry, in a hand in a tournament, and I had I had trip kings. There was a king on the flop, and Dr. Tom raised, and then I went all in, and he was trying to decide whether to call me. So I was quite drunk, and I was going, "I've got kings, Dr. Tom. I've got kings. So that means I've got trip kings. Just to let you know, I've got kings like this." And he didn't believe me, so he called, and he had a flush draw. And I won and did a victory dance, and he didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. He actually didn't talk to me for 2 weeks.
It's, well, you see, people
It was hilarious. It was
It's
the
a weird
funniest
thing,
thing.
speech, but it's odd you should say that. I got involved in a hand yesterday online. This is a true story. We're playing in a $250 tournament, a freeze out. You know, it's 3 or 4 grand to the winner. And I got ace king, and I raised it up, and I got a caller. There was a bit of banter on the site. You know, I'd said I was going to raise because I wanted some chips to riffle with. We was talking about riffling chips. And he's just called me. It's come ace high. And so I've hit my flop, and I bet out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's put in the chat box, "I don't think you've got anything, you're bluffing." And he moved all in.
Yeah.
And I was trying to decide what to do. I thought, well, I've only got 1 pair, but I've got top pair king kicker, and he says, "I don't think you've got anything," which implies he doesn't have anything. Anyway, I fell into this trap, and I called, and he had pocket aces, and he'd flopped the set. And he'd give it the na. And, you know, the truth was I got suckered in, there's no doubt about it. But whether one approves of that sort of play is another matter. Personally, I don't. But, you know, I'm old-fashioned. I was asking whether you approve of it.
Nick does it, and I find Nick very hard to play because he does it. I can never know whether he's lying or not.
It's perfectly legitimate. You know, poker is a game of deception.
Yeah.
It is. But, you
I
know,
quite like the fun of it, though, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fine. You know, it's sometimes you expect certain people to do it.
The fact of the matter is the guy suckered me, and it pinched a bit, shall we say. But we'll know next time. Mr. Twit. No, that's his name. That's his online name.
Just thought you were being a bit bitter.
No, his name was Twit T.
Can you believe?
No, he was a nice guy. I think he was about 11. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bitter.
I think that you're being a bit favoured tonight by our crew because they bought you a cup of tea and not me one.
Well, would you like...
Yours?
Would you like some
How
of
many
mine?
sugars? It got sugar in it?
Yes. Yes, no? You can have mine if you wish.
No, I'm fine because, you know, I have to drive her home for an hour. It's probably best.
No, you don't have bladder problems to get to my age. I'm the one that's supposed to have that problem. So these guys still bashing away.
They are. There's still 4 of them left. Haven't seen anything spectacular happening.
Well, we've been talking too much. We really should concentrate, perhaps. But you do gabble on a bit, don't you?
I do. That I do.
Yeah, you've got the wrong partner for that, because I do as well. I've had a great... Oh, look at this.
Can I just say, we've had an email quickly from Duex. Duex. And he just says, hello, I just wanted to say to you, Michelle, that your poker play has come on leaps and bounds over the last year. Well done. Your situational analysis of poker play is very good. I think it's time that you started teaching the boys on the show. I watch the show now and again, and in recent months have come across many a show where I feel your point is much more valid than your supposed tutors. Don't let them tell you otherwise. I don't mean your presenter tonight, he's a gentleman.
Well, how nice is that?
Oh, isn't that a nice email? Thanks, Dewey.
Well, I did make the... Duex, not Dewey.
Duex.
I did make the point earlier that I didn't want to be patronising, but I have to say I think you have a very, very solid game. Yay. And I can see why you're getting so many results. And I thoroughly agree with tonight's presenter. He's a gentleman. How nice is that? It's very. He doesn't know me clearly, but it's very rare that
he obviously missed the first half of the show.
Well, you had that coming to you.
Oh, really?
Yes. How much did you win? 210,000. I mean, there was no preamble, there was no foreplay. There was just bang, straight in. You was there, wasn't you?
It's only 5%. It's not much.
Give me the money.
If anyone out there would like to give me some money, then please do. Honestly,
they didn't make girls like you when I was younger. They just weren't like that. It used to take 9 months to get to that sort of situation where you could say those things.
I'm only joking. I'm going to make my own £10,000 on the poker site.
Well, I hope you do. So pretty close between Knight Simon and Hig 1. No big confrontations.
Those blinds should be going up soon. King, Queen, Ace, Jack. Might see some action here. Depends how much the raise is.
I'm not entirely sure, but I believe the starting stacks were probably 1,500, which would mean there was something like 110,000 chips in play. So the average would be 28,000, and with blinds at 600, 1,200, that is something like 24 big blinds. So plenty of playing this yet. They don't have to get all their chips in.
Oh, the Scouge is all in.
As I say that, they all go in. But 612, a full pot raise is about 4,000. So you've got a raise and a re-raise in, yeah? If you raise and get re-raised, you haven't got the hand, you can get away from it. Good structure, this. And it could in fact go on for a good while yet.
Well, they've got approximately 40 minutes.
Oh, look, the aces.
Paul 8-ball had aces earlier.
Nice little raiser, look, just 2 big blinds. And he's caught a customer and he's flopped a top set. Well, actually, Knight Simon's picked a draw up here. A 5 would be good, as long as it wasn't the 5 of clubs. He's blocked bottom. He's river bottom pair, but I don't think he's going to get too excited. Oh dear, he thinks he's winning. Oh my goodness.
He thinks Paul 8-ball doesn't have anything.
Now he lets go. Now he lets
But that flop he can't even consider, can he?
There's There's no bluff equity left now because Paul 8-ball's gone all in. Nothing wrong with the play. Not to know he's got aces. The re-steal is a very, very strong weapon, but not when the opponent is not on the steal.
And how do you mean re-steal?
Well, you know, he didn't have a hand, Knight Simon, did he? And Paul 8-ball's raised with what turned out to be a genuine hand, and Knight Simon said, I think you're stealing, I'm going to re-steal, I'm going to steal it back. But in this position, Paul 8-ball had a set of aces, so it's not going away. That doesn't make Knight Simon's play wrong, not at all. It's a very brave play, it's a strong play, and it's a very successful play on a lot of occasions, but it doesn't work if the other person really has a monster hand. If he only had one pair bad kicker or second pair, he would have taken it with his 3.
Yeah.
But as it happens, not many people put a set of aces down. In the final in the WPT in Paris last week, when they was playing for €750,000, it was perfectly playable to structure, and yet the two guys, two Scandinavians, were going all in almost every hand with almost anything. It was strange to see. They've been playing for 3-4 days, and yet they got into all-in fest. Very odd.
It was quite funny on Monday, because the guys that I was playing in the Beat the Presenter all said, look, whatever you've got in the next hand, everyone bet 100, and then when I put in minimum bet of 20, everybody fold, just to freak out Casper when it showed at 12 o'clock. And they didn't do it. He put in 100 as well, and then someone re-raced him straight away. It was quite funny. I thought it was a shame, because it really would have freaked him out.
I worked with Casper last week, and I have to say, I was a bit, well, I'm nervous with working with any new presenter, but I was very nervous with working with Casper because I watched him a lot. I'd never met him before, and I watched him a lot, and he sort of intimidates me by his depth of knowledge.
Oh, yes.
I was a little frightened that he was going to overawe me, but, you know, he was understanding, and we sort of clicked. And
yeah, he said he'd had a really good night.
I don't know how the show turned out, but we had a hoot. It was wonderful, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope I can work with him again.
See, I'm one of the rare species of people that's more intelligent than Casper. There's not many of us. We're a dying breed.
No comment. Ace-Jack suited against Queens. We might see some action here, because these are very big hands, four-handed. And I know what Knight Simon's not going to let go of this hand. I feel he's going to move all in here. Nope, 1 with 1 as we call it. But he can't pass now for 9,000, I don't believe. So I really don't see, other than sucking his friend in, which he successfully did. Those chips are always going to go in. And fair play to him, he got all the chips in. And he doubled up. It's a perfect situation.
Because Paul 8-ball was quite ahead a moment ago, and it's swapped around again now.
Well, to be fair to Knight Simon, he's played that very nicely. You know, the idea is to get maximum value out of this hand. Although, if an ace had fallen, he'd have regretted it. Who's to know?
Oh, no, they've both hit their ace, but he's all in, so it doesn't make any difference.
So,
he's going out.
In 4th place, earning $70.30.
Wow.
Hit 1 has left the scene of the crime. And we have 2 players almost level as were. Oh, look at this. Pocket 9s versus ace deuce. Ace deuce catches a set. There's a lot of luck in poker. So they all have a chance. 27,000, 45,000, 36,000. Who's your money on here?
I'm quite liking Paul 8-ball's play, you know.
Yep.
I know Pascal is a good player. Knight Simon's done some good moves. It's a good 3 people here we've got.
Well, because you've gone for Paul 8-ball, wouldn't it be unfair to go for the chip leader? I'll go for Pascal.
Okay.
Who happens to be winning this hand. There's a chance would have it, but I didn't. I had my eyes. What happened there?
Knight Simon bet.
Wow,
Pascal,
he let
didn't
go
like
with
it.
top pair with 3 spades there.
Didn't like the spades.
And I've just selected Pascal into a bit of winner.
We'll see. Should we have a bet on it? I say 10 grand.
Yeah, you're after this. You probably know the result as well. Anything you won't do for money.
I'm not materialistic at all. You'd know that if you knew one of my ex-boyfriends. Really, obviously wasn't after his money, as he didn't have any. Well, they're both caught at 7.
They're both caught at 7, but you wouldn't fancy either kicker, would you?
Well, I would, because he's got 2 pair.
How good is that by Paul 8-ball?
See, I told you. Three left. Who will it be? We've all worked so hard. It's been a long old evening of poker. I do love poker, I have to say. We've got an email here from Skinner, which I'm going to have to read out, because he says, "Hi TK, am I right in thinking that Ironside Scott is your nemesis in heads-up play? If so, I've just taken $50 off him on the TV tables in a heads-up match. So I got lucky on one hand, but otherwise I played him off the park. And in light of your previous stories about your heads-up comps against him, I'll dedicate the win to you. Loving your work."
Skinner, I love you. That is the man. His name online is sometimes Ironside Scott, sometimes it's Ironside Fish.
Oh, right.
Which describes him better. But that is the gentleman. He lives north of Inverness, on the right-hand side, in a place called Elgin, I think. A long, long way up anyway. It's out in the Upper Hebrides or somewhere dreadful. But that is the man, Ironside Scott, and you took $50 off him. I love it. Do it again. Well done. Yes, he is my nemesis. He did get very fortunate against me one night.
I don't really have a poker nemesis.
Everybody that plays me heads up is my poker nemesis. Well, this is very, very even, these three. My man Pascal is still in the game. I think he needs to just loosen up a little bit three-handed.
Yeah, because the goodness of your hands goes down, doesn't it, with the lesser players. I'm really not putting this very well. Quality of your hands decreases as there's less players.
One can reduce one's starting hand criteria.
I hate working with Casper. He always comes out with these ridiculous words that no one's ever heard of before.
Well, because he's articulate.
Do you know what the longest word in the dictionary is, TK?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
It's ultramicroscopic silicovolcaniconiosis.
Right, that's a disease, is it? Is that like
it's actually the small dust particles that cause cold.
Well, there you go.
And the second longest word is wonderful. It's flocky-knocky-nihilipilification. I love that word.
I think you're making all this up.
It's not, it's true.
What is it?
Flocky-knocky-nihilipilification and pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcaniconiosis.
I've heard of that one. I don't actually have the opportunity to drop it into conversation very often.
I actually think you can't. I think it's more of a... it's something or other that you would actually use it in... You wouldn't be able to use it in for what it means. I don't really know.
It gets abbreviated to germs. It's been a great evening tonight. I must say that I do this show, I always think 4 hours live, you know, what an ordeal this must be.
It's not, it's wonderful.
How do you blather on for 4 hours? But it goes ever so quick, doesn't it?
I've absolutely, completely fallen in love with the game of poker, so I love coming in.
I thought you were going to say something else then. my little heart skipped a beat there.
We've been called Teak and Tush. I wonder who's who.
Who's that?
It's a gentleman called Macready. Oh, I like his name, Macready. Michelle Macready. That sounds really cool.
Well, I haven't got that one.
You have to press inbox at the top and it comes up.
I've got it. This is Mr. Macready.
I do like his last name.
Tom Macready.
Tom Macready. That sounds wicked. I like your name. Excellent name. And yeah, he says, "Hi, Teak and Tish. I must comment, I feel strongly about this one. I don't mind banter at the poker table, live or online, but when it comes to declaring your intended action before your turn, i.e. I'm going all in, or saying what cards you hold, it is, in my humble opinion, out-and-out cheating."
In my opinion, Tom, you are entirely correct. But as there's no regulation of online poker, it's a question of one's own morality. There's nothing to stop people doing it. But, you know, we sleep easy at night because we play the game straight and we don't mess around. If people feel they have to cheat to win, well, each to their own. Good man, Tom.
I bet he's old like you, that's why.
He's not old at all. He's the same age as me. I think he's mid-40s. He has 6 daughters.
Ooh, I've got 3 sisters.
There you go. He has a wonderful wife who's called Mrs. Dog.
Mrs.
Or
Dog.
Mrs. Red or Mrs. Dog.
Well, she's got a great last name, McCready. It sounds like it should be on like a TV show or something. McCready.
I think I'm going to get in trouble now because I know her quite well and she's a lovely lady and a good friend. I think her real name is Mazzelli.
Mazzelli.
Yeah, it's a Romany gypsy name.
Oh, wonderful.
And they are Romany gypsies. They're a wonderful family, extraordinary people. Mazzelli. Anyway, I'm going to get in trouble because I'm sure that's wrong. But he has a wheelbarrow full of daughters. And I said, what happened on Father's Day? He says, my daughters took myself and my wallet out to dinner.
Yeah, sounds. You'd probably get along well with my dad, Tom. Because he's got 4 daughters. He says, you'd think I'd have my dinner on my table and my clothes washed and ironed at the end of the day. But as it happens, he generally does the dinner and the washing when he comes home.
Well, he plays poker for a living. In fact, he
work.
won a big competition last night online. But, he tends to go to bed at 4 or 5 in the morning and tries to have a bit of a sleep. And he said, it's amazing how much noise my daughters make when they're trying to be quiet. And he said, you can hear them creeping around and then they knock something over. And there's this theatrical, shh, be quiet, Dad is asleep. And so he hears all this. He's a very, very funny, one of the funniest men I've ever met, and one of the most articulate and a gentleman. But his point's right. I think declaring your action before it comes to you to act is cheating, and saying you're going to go all in when it comes to you is cheating.
I don't think I'd feel comfortable saying that when other people have to act before me.
Well, really it's a question of morality, and again, it's as in poker as in life. Some people think these things are fine and they're funny and it's a fair way of winning and there's nothing in the rules against it. But
no, I think it's fine when it's like you and another guy. Like when I was playing Nick, it was me and Nick, and he'd be like, I've got aces, I've got an ace-king. But I would actually never know. I found it really funny and hysterical, and I just had to play my cards because I couldn't read them at all.
7-4 against Deuce-7, and these guys are still thrashing away.
They are, aren't they?
Almost level, and this is how poker should be played. But they've both got a bit of this. They both think they're winning, I suspect.
Well, you've got Pasky, haven't you?
7
and I've got
deuce
Paul,
and 7-4.
which probably means Knight Simon will
This
win.
takes a little bit of nerve on an 8-eye flop. How does Knight Simon know he's winning this? He's out kicking. Well, there you go. See, you don't need starting hands to win at poker.
Nope.
7-4 again. These boys could play for a long time.
Yeah. Well, while we're watching, got another email. This one's from Supergrass. If you see something exciting happening, stop me. He says, hi, Michelle and TK. I have a question on side pots. In what situation is it right to play for a side pot in a tournament? Say there is someone that is already all in, and there are 3 of you left in the pot. If there is just one pot, it's just checked around all the time to try and make sure that as many players are in the hand as possible to knock the all-in out. Also, if there are 2 pots in what situations, in the same situations, Also, if there are 2 pots in what situations, is it correct to play for the other pot in which the all-in player cannot win? If that makes sense.
No, it's an interesting question. I mean, what this boils down to, if there's 3 of you left and one guy goes all in and 2 of you call, should you bet through the streets? Because if you bet and the other guy passes, it's 1 against 1 instead of 2 against 1. And the idea is to knock people out of the tournament.
To give you a better chance.
Correct. But you do so without colluding. I take a view on this that says this. I pay my entry fee myself, and so I'll do it the way I want. And so if we happen to have a dry pot, which is when some guy's all in and 2 of us are still in the pot, and I think I win in this hand, I don't care about the convention that says 2 of us should check it down, because I'm going to bet, because I've paid my entry fee and I'll do what I want with my money. I mean, I really am quite serious about that. I'm not going to put myself at a disadvantage and bet for the sake of betting, because there's nothing to be won if the guy's not going to call me. But if I want him out of the way, I'll bet.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
And plus, if it's you and the all-in, you've got a 50% chance of winning.
Yep.
And if the other guy's still in, then you've
Correct.
only got a 33%
Now,
chance
sometimes
of
when
winning.
you bet in one of these pots, the people on the table get upset with you, and the other guy in the pot who says, what are you doing that for? We should check it down and take him out. Well, you want to pay my entry fee, sunshine, then I'll do what you say.
Yeah.
But you're not paying my entry fee, so I'll do what I want.
No,
on
I
top of
completely
which,
agree with you, and I've had people have a go at
yeah,
me for that
they
before
do a
as
lot.
well.
But, we're not going to collude. It isn't colluding to check it down, but be quite clear. If you think you've got a winning hand, bet, because the winning hand you've got on the flop or the turn might not be the winning hand on the end. So the fact that there's somebody all in has got nothing to do with it, in my opinion. You know, you play your own game. When people say you should or shouldn't do this, it makes me very tetchy, because...
Well, they had to go at me, didn't they, when I played in that my first ever live tournament. What had happened was I was on the big blind, it was folded round to the small blind, and she had hardly anything left, so she went all in. And they said because she was bottom stack and because I had quite a good stack, they had to go at me and said, you should have called that, there's no way you should. And I had someone like a 3-7, and I folded because I didn't want to double her up. And everyone had to go at me, and I thought, well, I may have made a mistake, maybe I should have called her. But the fact that you're sitting there we were in a break, and they were saying you really shouldn't have done that, it's not good poker etiquette. And I thought, what do you mean poker etiquette? I didn't understand it.
It is nonsense. What they're saying is I don't know what the actual chips were, but you had the odds to call. Well, that's your opinion. That's up to you. You know, you play your game your way. Don't ever allow people to intimidate you into playing certain things or boss you around. As long as you're playing your entry fee, you play your own way. Don't take a note of these people saying you should.
Well, I looked at it as like, she's most probably got a better hand than me. I don't want to double her up.
There is a great sense in that. When you double up an opponent and they become dangerous, you know, I wish I hadn't made that call now.
No, they would have just taken
the blind.
Look,
listen, if you think you want to bust this person, you make the call. You know, don't be spending my money and my chips, please. You know, one thing that makes me cross at the table is people telling me what to do with my chips. So no, you play your own game. There's no convention about it.
No.
If you have the odds to call, you call. But sometimes doubling up a short stack's a bad thing. Well, these guys are having a right thrash around here.
They are, aren't they?
And I think this is excellent. I don't like to see people keep going all in. There are many comps online. Talking to Mr. McCready, he won a comp last night. Had a wonderful structure. I think he was second in chips, and he had 50,000 chips, and the big blind was 3,000. So he had 45. He had 15 or 20 big blinds at that stage. And these two guys went at it hammer and tongs for a very long time, and it's good to see proper poker played. And he ended up winning, I think, a couple of $1,000, which pays for a few days and gives you a nice feeling in your nether regions, doesn't it?
Oh, does it? Do you know what I'd like to do? I hear all of you lot saying about going on these poker tours and things, and...
How can you look at young, free and single website and talk about poker at the same time?
Because I'm a female, so I can multitask. I said I'd get that picture up, didn't I? I must do that. I'd like to go on these like poker kind of trips where you go on the boats and that, and you all play, because I love it. Do you know, it's like I love playing pool, because it's a man thing. Men think that pool's their game, that we should be good at it, and I'm quite good at pool. I think it comes from my dad having 4 daughters and wanting a son, so it's made us all quite competitive. So I'm quite good at pool. I'm not much of a positioner player, but I can pot fine. And I love it when I beat guys. I think it's wicked. And the same goes for poker. They think it's a man's game. They don't think you should be there. And I love it when I'm in.
Have you ever been on a poker cruise?
No, never. I've never really... I've not played much live poker at all, and I love it.
Tremendous fun. I had my first one this year.
I've played quite a few down the gut shot.
The thing about a poker cruise is that you're with 1,000 or 600 like-minded people. Everybody there enjoys poker, so, you know, you're with poker folks.
Yeah.
And it was tremendous. We sailed around the Caribbean and we never really sort of saw land or sea. We was always playing cards all day and all night.
I think I'd really enjoy it.
Fantastic. King, Queen, Ace 10, 6, 3. My friend Pascali's made a move with King, Queen and got Knight Simon off Ace 10. And my selection has moved up into 2nd spot. Your selection has moved down into 3rd spot.
Oh dear.
Let it be said.
He'll come back. But they are chopping and changing, aren't they?
Yep. Michelle is just kissing the screen. She's looked on one of these dating websites.
It's not a dating website, it's just a picture of a guy from the OC who I love.
A guy from the what?
It's the TV series. It's the series that
What's
I
it
watched,
called?
the OC.
I've never heard of it.
It's a bit like Beverly Hills 90210 from back in the
No,
day.
I've never heard of that either. I don't watch that sort of television.
It's modern day Dallas.
I don't watch junk. Or Children's Hour.
You have to say he's pretty though, right?
It doesn't look pretty to me.
A bit rough around the edges. I like it.
It looks like Robbie Williams during his drug phase.
It doesn't look anything like Robbie Williams.
Come on, concentrate.
We've got Knight
Can't
Simon
now.
with the queens. Pascali with 6-3 bottom pair. I hope he doesn't get too excited with his bottom pair.
No.
Knight Simon's got the queens. Doesn't like this king high flop, but has to bet out. See where he is. These three guys have impressed me.
Yeah. You have the TK seal of approval.
Yeah, that counts for a great deal, I'm sure.
So how long have you been playing poker?
Oh, I don't know, 5 years or something, 6 years.
Oh, not hugely.
No, no. And I retired from real work about 2 years ago. 2 years and 2 months. And I thought I was going to sort of fade away quietly, but all sorts of funny things happened after that. I've had a wonderful time. I have to say there's great fun to be had in poker if you approach it the right way.
Brilliant.
I saw an email somewhere, which we haven't read out yet, about how do you take beats? Huh?
Yes, I've got that up here.
Who was
Do you
it
want me
from?
I think it's DVC. He says, here off the 25-50 cash game, I'm just
Oh, yeah.
wondering, TK, how do you stay calm after taking a lot of bad beats or constantly getting outdrawn? I'm having problems keeping composure when I go on a big losing streak. Anything you can recommend?
Well, some people find it more easy than others. I have to say I find it very, very simple because at the end of the day, a beat in poker is just a beat in poker. It's a game of cards, it's a game of luck. You've got no control over what comes out. If you don't feel that you want to deal with the bad beats of poker, then you shouldn't play poker. And people that can't handle it have a lot of unhappiness out of poker, and they shouldn't play the game, in my opinion. But really, it reflects the way you treat life. You know, how do you deal with adversity? You just get on and deal with it. You know, you show a bit of backbone and move on. The point is, what is to be gained by getting upset by yesterday's weather or the last hand's bad beat? Nothing is to be gained at all. Everything is to be lost.
Yeah.
So, I think it's in your nature. You're either gonna handle it, you're going to deal with it, or you're not. I don't think you can train yourself. It just happens to be something to me that I got poker in its right perspective. I understand it's a game of great luck, and relative to what happens in life, it means nothing. It's something that in my case, I play for enjoyment. So bad beats don't really do much to me. I shrug my shoulders and smile, and we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, every time that someone puts a bad beat on you, you put a bad beat on someone.
Yeah.
But people don't remember them. So I'm sorry you've been on a losing streak there, Steve, and thank you for the nice comments about the show. But, you know, bad beats, keep them in perspective. They're not the end of the world.
And generally with a bad beat, what makes a bad beat is a bad call. And if they've made a bad call, it means you're winning money off that player in the long run.
Sometimes, but, you know, if someone's gone in with a bad hand, look at this, 2 pair. Someone's gone in with a bad hand, and if you've got aces and they've called you with 7 deuce, you start, it's not going moaning and groaning because the 7 deuce wins, because you want them to call you a 7 deuce, don't you?
Yeah.
There is an excellent email here from Odd-Shaped Things.
Odd-shaped fools, yes, we've spoken to him before. He says, hi Shell and TK. I offered TK a visit to my signal box in return for a lesson in poker a few weeks ago, and you've not got back to me. He says, not seen the show for a while, as have been on holes. How did you get on in Iceland? Shell, you look like you're very brown. Have you been away or just 9 minutes in Tenerife? No, went away for a week to Greece with my 2 lovely sisters, younger sisters.
Well, the lesson, the visit to the signal box, which was a fantastic opportunity. Very, very excited. In fact, if you're good, you can come with me.
Yeah, to a signal box?
Yep. Oh, I have to say, it's
know
very
what it
exciting.
is.
I actually had an email from this gentleman, and I did reply to it.
Oh,
and
as we lose your man, can I
and
just
it
point
bounced
out?
for some reason. I had the email 2 or 3 weeks ago. It bounced back to me, and if I'm not mistaken, I put a post on the forum about it, on the Poker Night Live forum. I'll check that out tomorrow, but I did reply and it had bounced. And I can remember where the signal box was. I seem to think it was in Leicestershire somewhere, or it might have been in Glossop or somewhere, but it wasn't that far away. And I'm very excited about it. So yeah, we'll put it together. You want to come with us, don't you?
I don't know what a signal box is.
Don't be silly.
What, like a train signal box?
What other sort of signal box would it be?
I don't know. Like a boat signal box or something?
Boat signal box.
Plane signal box?
Planes don't have signal boxes, do they?
No, do I?
It's a train thing, isn't it?
I find
Fantastic.
trains rather boring, to be fair, TK.
Well, that's a disgraceful thing to say.
My friend John Price,
I'm ashamed of you.
he's 65 and he has a train set in his loft and he goes and sits and plays on it.
A train set, okay. Okay, Knight Simon and Paul 8 ball heads up. We're playing for 148 per second.
So you owe me 10 grand then because We said we made the bet, didn't we?
I don't recall making it for 10 grand.
I think we did. Can't go back on your bet now, TK. It's just you can't be done.
You're a charlatan, and I wish I knew what that meant. Is it all right to call you a charlatan?
I have no idea, so I'm going to let you.
4-9 against 2-9.
There's a lot of these going on in this game.
These two guys have thrashed around for a long time. I think they've played nice poker. We haven't done much poker tuition today, but I suppose we answered a lot of emails.
We have done stuff.
Thank you for that email from Odd-Shaped Balls. We will be signal boxing soon. You're jealous, aren't you?
I'm a little bit jealous, yes. But I'm not going to dwell on it.
Well, I hope we're going to see the end of this MTT. We are getting towards stumps, as they say, close of play, and these guys are showing no sign of chucking all their chips in with nonsense. They're playing properly. So if we don't see the end of it, I'd just like to say I think they've both played superbly.
We will, I'm sure we will.
And blinds are 1-2, so they've both got 30 big blinds-ish. Ace-4 and Queen-10.
Okay, so we've got a bit of play here.
Yep.
So it's not a crapshoot like it is a lot of time in sit-and-go tournaments. So, do you know what? I was actually about to ask you some advice on heads-up play. And I just caught myself in time.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't embarrass
Should
me.
we just watch it?
Yeah, it's no good asking me how to play heads-up. The Queen-10. I know the Queen-10's winning here. But I'm absolutely hopeless at it. I'm going to, if anybody's going to be there for poker, I'm going to the Vic on Friday.
What's that like? I've never been.
Well, you know, whatever turns you on. It's not my favourite venue for all sorts of reasons, but it has quite a reputation.
Where is it?
And the Vic is in London, in Edgware Road.
Edgware Road.
And they have a 5,000 buy-in tournament, which I shan't be. Yes, I shan't be playing. I played it last year, but I'm not playing it this year. I'm doing a little bit of live updating for it, but there'll be some fabulous players there. On Saturday, I think I'm going to the Broadway in Birmingham to meet some people. That should be fun. Lovely casino, the Broadway in Birmingham. On Sunday, I'm going to Nottingham, I think, and then a couple of days at home. I hope. Oh no, next week I'm going up to Scotland.
Oh, I love Scotland. I like the Highlands.
I think I'm going to try and get up to Edinburgh, to the Maybury, for a little festival they're having on Thursday, Friday.
You're a little jet setter, aren't you?
Well, that's the life we have to lead. I'd like to stay up there for Saturday and Sunday, but I'm having an argument with myself because I really ought to go to Bolton on Saturday and Sunday for a rather nice competition that's going off there. But I might stay up in Edinburgh, have a few days up there. Very nice Edinburgh. It's on the right-hand side. The last fortnight I went to Dublin, Luton, Walsall,
oh, I really wanted to Dublin. I love the Irish
Helsinki
accent.
and Paris. Oh, Odd-Shaped Balls asked how I got in Helsinki.
Oh, yes.
Please don't ask.
Oh.
No, I went quite deep, but one of those days I never picked up any hands and I didn't use much imagination, and sometimes you have to sort of be creative. I wasn't very creative. I came back from Helsinki, tail between legs, went to Walsall, had monster hand after monster hand. But the stack kept going up and down. It was a rather strange evening. Well, we have a flop straight here against ace queen. This could be the hand because there's a straight draw for Knight Simon, top pair and top straight draw, and a straight for Paul 8-ball. The pair jack might just slow these guys down, but Knight Simon might actually take off here. Bit of a dangerous ball, to be honest with you, so he may seem caution. He's re-raised, is he?
Yeah, but I'm not sure, actually. I couldn't quite see there.
Yeah, a lot of damage done. It'll be very hard to Knight Simon to get off that hand heads up. He's got top pair, top kicker, and Paul 8-ball's got the straight.
He's
very
a
tricky
bully
hand.
now, I think.
So now with blinds at 1,500, 3,000 and a raise at about 10,000, Paul 8-ball's got his chance to kill this game. I'm not sure if we're going to see the end of this. We have less than a minute left, I believe. So,
1 minute to go and we're going to have to leave. I don't think it's going to be this hand. Do we know who won? Hello? Do we know? I'm just finding out.
It's a secret.
Well, just in case we don't see it, tell me in my ear. Right.
Well, I don't think that would be giving it away, but in my opinion, the best player here is Paul Eightball.
That's who I picked, remember?
Yeah, well, I think Paul Eightball will win it, but good luck to both of them. Congratulations to both of them. Great play.
Okay, we're going to have to come back now. I can tell you that Paul Eightball does win it, so congratulations to you.
You give it away.
Well, they're going to see it.
You're giving it away.
But that's all we've got time for. TK, it's been a pleasure this evening again working with you.
It's been fantastic. I'm so pleased about Tushy.
Yes,
I'm
and
going
you've
to
learned
use that.
Tushy.
I'm going
Make
to
sure
use
you
that
use
all
it.
day tomorrow. Tushy. It was excellent. You're great fun.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Make sure you do join us tomorrow night as well at 10 p.m. for some more action and all the same things you're seeing tonight you'll get tomorrow, but it is professional night, remember that. TK, thank you very much. Take care. And to you guys at home, it's good night and goodbye.